A group of young people is running excitedly near an ancient wall. They shout at their friend to go faster, encouraging and teasing him. One of the boys ends up tripping and falls to the ground, left gasping and coughing while the others continue playing around. 2 years earlier, a group arrives at a huge sanctuary called Lamore's Citadel. They are impressed by the size of the place and the long line. A lively girl comments to Kai that they are going to receive a gift at that altar, showing that they are very excited about what is about to happen there. Kai is a little nervous but tries to hide it in front of the others. He admits that he barely slept, as he kept thinking about the gift he will receive. His friends notice that he is anxious, and one of them comments that he feels the same way. Everyone is curious and wonders what kind of blessing or gift they will gain from that special altar. In this world, when a person turns 13, they receive a special gift, considered a blessing from the gods. This gift can be anything, from fighting with weapons, using magic, creating objects, or even finding and identifying things. The type of gift each person receives basically decides the course of their life. Rena, Kai's childhood friend, excitedly says she wants to become a princess, but then quickly changes her mind and says she wants to be a rabbit instead. The others laugh and remind her that being a rabbit isn't even a possible gift. They ask Kai what kind of gift he would like, and he replies that a sword gift would be cool, but deep down he knows that isn't true. Kai thinks that, in fact, he doesn't want a sword gift, even though his grandfather hopes he will follow the family dojo. What he truly desires is to receive a gift that will allow him to live adventures and become a great hunter, just like his mother. For him, being a hunter and exploring unknown places while facing monsters is the real dream. Kai thinks that even if he were to receive a sword gift, he has no talent for it and is weaker than the other disciples of the dojo. He admits that he learns everything more slowly than the others. Meanwhile, Rena asks if she can become a cat, and Kai laughs, saying that isn't possible either. He still thinks that another relative, Roman, would be much better suited to inherit the dojo since he has real talent. While they wait, Kai and Rena notice a commotion near the altar. They wonder what happened, and Kai imagines that someone must have received a rare gift. Soon after, Kai watches closely as someone approaches, curious about the situation. Lila shows up running and calls out to Kai and Rena excitedly. The two wave and reply with joy. Lila arrives out of breath, and Rena immediately asks if she managed to receive her gift, showing curiosity about the result. Lila says she received the gift of Sword Specialist, just as everyone had expected. Kai explains that she is his childhood friend and also his fiancée, but clarifies that this was something decided by their parents. Lila is the only daughter of a famous dojo, rival to Kai's family dojo. Kai sees Keith and Roman arriving and is happy to meet them. He quickly asks Roman what gift he received, but before Roman can answer, something unexpected happens and interrupts the conversation. Roman reveals to Lila that he received the gift of King of Spears. She replies coldly, saying she had already seen it. Meanwhile, someone mysterious, who recognizes Lila, watches everything from a distance and seems interested in the group. A knight from the Order of the Paladins of the Holy King approaches Lila and asks to talk about the gift she received. He explains that they don't want to force her into anything, but emphasizes that her effort and daily training is what makes her gift so special, especially since she is the only daughter of the Hellner family. Kai is impressed with Lila, while the knight suggests continuing the conversation in another, more appropriate place. Roman invites Lila to go along with him and the paladins, and she reluctantly agrees. Before leaving, Lila says goodbye to Kai and Rena, telling them she will see them later, while Kai responds cheerfully. Keith apologizes for Roman's pushy attitude, but Kai says he understands. After that, they part ways, each going in different directions. Right after, Rena draws Kai's attention because the line to receive gifts has started to move, and they prepare to step forward. Rena goes up to receive her gift and discovers that she has been chosen as Swordmaster. The guards are surprised, commenting that this year is full of powerful gifts, like King of Spears, Archmage, and now Swordmaster. Everyone is impressed by her luck and talent. The guards remark that the appearance of so many powerful gifts is a sign that the demon's strength is increasing, and that an attack is probably going to happen soon. Shortly after, it is Kai's turn. He steps forward, says his name, and prepares to place his hand on the crystal to receive his gift. When Kai touches the crystal, he suddenly feels his body become heavy, as if a restriction had been placed on him. He is confused, notices that the crystal's light suddenly disappeared, and thinks that he has never heard of a gift with such limits. Everything seems strange and out of place. The person in charge of the ritual looks at Kai, frightened and hesitant, while everyone waits in silence. The atmosphere grows heavy and tense, with both of them staring at each other, waiting for the announcement of Kai's gift. Kai's gift is revealed as the most incompetent in the world. The story then returns to the present time, in the training grounds of Lamore. In the training field, Roman mocks Kai, calling him the most incompetent in the universe. The other classmates laugh and also mock him, saying they should at least give him a chance. Kai tries to defend himself, but ends up on the defensive, as he is pressured during training. Kai takes a heavy blow to the face during training, falls to the ground and loses his sword. He lies there, looking up at the sky, clearly defeated. Kai slowly wakes up, staring at the sky, still dizzy. He realizes that he is outside and remembers that he fainted after taking Roman's blow. Someone approaches, worried, asking if he is okay. While Kai still tries to recover, Kai wakes up badly injured and sees Lila looking at him with concern. Still dazed, he only calls her name, showing that he is tired and shaken by what just happened. Lila helps Kai stand up, commenting that his face is really injured. He tries to brush it off and says he probably just has a bump on his head. Lila offers her hand, but Kai, embarrassed, says he can stand up by himself, even though he is still shaken. Lila touches Kai's face, tending to his wounds. He thanks her and says he is used to it, that this happens all the time since he received the gift of the most incompetent in the world. Kai reflects that this harsh routine has become part of his life since that day at the sanctuary. Kai says that ever since he received the gift of incompetence, his physical abilities have gotten much worse, no matter how much he trains. Now he is even weaker than women and children without any training at all. He has become a target of taunts, abuse, and even stones thrown by strangers. Not even his old friends talk to him anymore. Fractures and blood have become routine, and he even considers a day with few injuries as lucky. After receiving this gift, he lost the right to inherit the family dojo, and his engagement with Lila was cancelled, leaving only her and a few others who still treat him kindly. Kai feels like a complete nobody now. He is no longer the heir to the family sword style, nor Lila's fiancé, just a subhuman marked by incompetence. Even though he says he is fine, it is clear that he is only trying to get used to this new harsh routine. Lila watches worriedly, but Kai pretends to be fine. Lila asks if Kai will go to the royal capital soon. He answers that it is difficult to continue in Lamore, so he is thinking of going to another city, hoping to be treated like a normal person there. Kai admits that his mother wants him to go to the capital, but for now he only plans to go to the neighboring city without high expectations. Kai explains that he is going to Babel, a city known for sheltering people without gifts, so he believes he can find some work there even with his bad gift. He promises Lila that he will send her a letter as soon as he settles down, but she says it isn't necessary, looking a little uncomfortable with the farewell. Lila says goodbye to Kai with a smile and says she needs to pack her things. Kai replies a little awkwardly, waving back. After that, he decides that he will visit his grandfather before following through with his own plans, but is soon called by someone. Roman appears in front of Kai and introduces himself proudly, saying that he now possesses the gift of King of Spears. He makes it clear that, even though he is not from the main family, he has the right to marry Lila, since Kai is no longer engaged to her. Roman states that he is the only one for her now, leaving his sense of rivalry very evident. Kai replies that this decision should be Lila's own. Roman taunts him, saying that she would never choose someone incompetent like Kai. Even so, Kai remains unshaken and says that his feelings for Lila are different from Roman's, showing that he is calm about the situation. An instructor calls Roman back to training, telling him to stop wasting time talking to Kai. The others laugh at Kai, calling him a failure. Kai thinks to himself that, in truth, he sees Lila more as a sister and doesn't even have romantic feelings for her. But he ends up not saying that to Roman. Kai says goodbye to his grandfather, thanking him for everything up until now. The grandfather, visibly shaken, apologizes for everything he made Kai go through and admits that, with the engagement cancelled, he is practically expelling Kai from home. The atmosphere is heavy, showing how difficult the situation is for both of them. Kai reassures his grandfather by saying that he doesn't mind leaving the house, because he has always seen Lila as a sister, and going to the capital of Babel has always been his dream. He states that he isn't discouraged and faces everything with optimism, trying to ease his grandfather's guilt. Kai's grandfather starts to laugh, saying that he realizes how old he has become. He says that he had already noticed something was bothering Kai in his eyes, as if they were cloudy. Now, seeing his grandson's determined gaze, he tells him to head to the capital and live the way he wants. Kai thanks him, feeling that his grandfather was able to see his true feelings and confirms to himself that he has always wanted to be a hunter and never truly wanted to take over the dojo. Kai's grandfather says that regardless of his gift, he will always be family and will always have a home there. Kai admits that he no longer feels like he belongs in that place and thinks it will be hard to return one day. His grandfather then yells, telling him to shut up and just show up from time to see the family, making the mood lighter between them. Kai, surprised, promises that he will visit. Kai's grandfather abruptly ends the conversation and walks away, leaving Kai a little lost. Before leaving, he tells Kai to take care of himself. Kai, a bit emotional, thanks him and also wishes for his grandfather to be well. Then, he says goodbye once more, already ready to follow his path. Kai straps on his backpack, gets excited, and decides he's ready to move forward. He thinks that things are finally going the right way and that he's going to Babel, where everyone who wants to be a hunter gathers. Determined, Kai tells himself he will become a hunter and fulfill his dreams in Babel. He fills himself with courage and confidence, ready to start this new journey. Kai walks through the city looking for the carriage station, checking a paper to orient himself. He figures the station should be right there at the corner. When he arrives, he's impressed by the fancy carriage parked there and keeps wondering what kind of person could be inside it. Suddenly, someone calls his name, Kai Heinemann. A girl shows up all lively, introduces herself as Rosemary, and asks if he is indeed Kai Heinemann. Kai is surprised, thinks about her name, and remembers it's the same name as the priestess of the Kingdom of Emilia, wondering if it could really be her. Rosemary bows energetically, saying she's going to accompany Kai to the royal capital. She asks him to call her Rose with a big bright smile. Kai feels a little awkward but replies that he's looking forward to the trip, while the other girl who is with Rose quietly watches everything. The hooded girl grabs Kai by the collar, staring at him up close and angry. Kai freezes, not understanding anything, only managing to stammer in fear. Someone yells, "Anna," trying to stop her. Eyes wide, she calls Kai a bratty incompetent and asks if he has no manners. Rosemary steps in and tells Anna to stop, saying she herself chose to travel with Kai and that this kind of attitude only brings shame to her and to his grandfather, the Sword Saint. Anna bows, apologizing. Kai is a bit lost, just watching the situation. A knight tries to justify it by saying Anna only acted like that out of devotion to Rose, but she says she's already understood, while sighing in relief. Rosemary takes a strong slap to the face, leaving everyone surprised. Kai and Anna don't understand anything, just staring. With her face marked, Rosemary turns to Kai, calls his name, and starts walking toward him, making the mood a bit tense. Rosemary, even with the mark on her face, is back to normal already, and calls everyone to set off, smiling as if nothing had happened. Kai is startled, not understanding this change in mood, and wonders if all nobles are like that. They get into the carriage. Rosemary invites him to sit beside her, and Kai feels a bit unsure, wondering if he'll be able to handle these people, but he mentally thanks his grandfather for arranging the transport. Rosemary, even with the mark on her face, is back to normal already and calls everyone to set off, smiling as if nothing had happened. Kai is startled, not understanding this change in mood, and wonders if all nobles are like that. They get into the carriage. Rosemary invites him to sit beside her, and Kai feels a bit unsure, wondering if he'll be able to handle these people, but he mentally thanks his grandfather for arranging the transport. It's already starting to get dark, and Kai realizes the capital is really far away. He grabs a tray in the dinner line, looking at the camp set up in the middle of the forest. When it's his turn to be served, the cook calls out in a hurry, and Kai apologizes for being distracted, going right away to get his food. Kai receives a tray with bread and soup, but the cook tells him to get out of the line at once, saying those are Sir Frankton's orders. Kai is confused, remembering that his grandfather said all travel expenses were covered, but now he starts to think he might need to pay separately for the food. He looks around, a bit lost, while other travelers also comment about having to pay. Kai ends up being bumped by a big man and drops all the food on the ground. He falls and feels pain, but desperately tries to grab the bread. Meanwhile, someone yells, asking where he thinks he's going, and starts complaining, leaving Kai even more lost as he tries to save what little is left of the meal. The man starts shouting at Kai, calling him incompetent, and blaming him for the bump, even though he was the one who hit first. Kai tries to defend himself, but he gets kicked and thrown to the ground. Others around just watch, comment that this always happens, and say to leave Kai alone, ignoring the situation. Anna glares at the man, and he asks if she's protecting the traitor. She answers seriously that she's only following Lady Rose's orders to treat Kai as a guest, making it clear she isn't protecting him of her own accord. A strong man shows up out of nowhere, throwing a huge sword on the ground, making everyone look at him. Everyone stops and gets tense with his presence, while someone watches from afar and thinks, "What's going on with all this commotion?" The burly man leaves the scene grumbling, saying he's starving. Kai, a bit embarrassed, tries to thank him, but the girl with the sword is already walking away and doesn't even look back. Kai just watches her fade into the darkness and grows pensive. The girl looks seriously at Kai and tells him to go back to the tent, saying she only helped by Lady Rose's order. Right after, an imposing man appears, says it seems one of his soldiers caused trouble for her again. She stays silent, just watching, a bit embarrassed. The man named Arnold calls out to Kai, who immediately gets nervous and apologizes, bowing down to the ground. Arnold, out of nowhere, also bows and asks for forgiveness, saying the subordinate's bad behavior was his own fault. Kai panics and asks Arnold to get up, saying that isn't necessary. Kai thinks that being seen as a traitor cursed with a bad gift is already something common, especially by the people from the royal capital and the kingdom of Amelia. He's already used to it, even though it's something that can't be helped. Arnold shows up cheerful, says he'll bring food to Kai next time, and tells him to go to the tent. Kai tries to refuse, but Arnold pulls him along, saying, "Young people should be more honest." Arnold arrives sternly at Kai's side and asks if the head chef is listening to him. The chef gets nervous, starts to justify himself, saying he was only following Sir Frankton's orders, but Arnold cuts him off, saying he doesn't want to hear that, only keeping the tension in the air. Kai watches everything up close, a bit surprised by the situation. Arnold loses patience, yells in the chef's face, saying he ordered him to prepare Kai's food properly. The chef, sweating bullets and terrified, can only answer while stuttering and obeys immediately. Arnold also says that amount of food wasn't anywhere near enough and orders them to put more before serving. The chef runs to serve the plate, clearly scared, while Arnold keeps glaring at everyone with a grim face. Kai receives a heaping plate of food and is even surprised by the quantity. He thanks Arnold, but Arnold says there's no need to thank him since that's the food he's entitled to anyway. Arnold says that, since he's just a boy, Kai has to eat a lot to grow strong. After that, Arnold gives a smile and says he'll take his leave, leaving Kai excited about the meal. Arnold tells Kai not to worry, that he'll talk to Frankton and the other subordinates, ensuring that won't happen again. Kai keeps watching and thinks that even in that world, there are still good people like Arnold. 3 days pass in the Silka Forest. Kai keeps receiving huge portions of food since the incident, and he notices people have also stopped picking on him. Kai thinks Mr. Arn is truly amazing. Kai is lying in the tent, thinking about his friends. He remembers Keith went to the capital to study, while Rena, who is a sword saint, joined the hero's party to defeat the Demon King. Keith is an archmage. Kai keeps wondering what they must be doing now, and hopes Rena is okay. Suddenly, Rose appears at the tent door and asks permission to enter. Kai is surprised and calls her Miss Rose, letting her in. Rose is kneeling inside Kai's tent, looking at him with a somewhat tense air. Kai is confused and a bit nervous, wondering why she came to his place. He remembers that if someone saw Rose there, he would be bothered again by the people in the camp. Kai asks, a bit awkwardly, what brought her there? Rose starts to speak but hesitates, seeming about to explain the reason for her visit. Rose throws herself forward and apologizes loudly, leaving Kai surprised. He's a bit lost with the situation. Rose explains that she's feeling guilty about what happened to Kai because she heard from Arn everything the knights did to him. Kai tries to calm her down, saying she doesn't need to apologize, that it's already in the past and he doesn't care anymore. Even so, Rose is upset, thinking it was all her fault. Rose says she asked Kai's grandfather to let her travel together for a very selfish reason. She says she really wanted to go to the capital with him, and Kai is a bit surprised and ends up asking why she wanted to travel together. Rose gets embarrassed and reveals it's because Kai is the childhood friend of Rena and Keith. That catches him off guard, and he even reacts with an "each?" Kai is surprised and asks if Rose really knows Rena and Keith. She confirms she does, saying Rena is her best friend and Keith is the apprentice of the court mage, who is also her magic mentor. Rose confirms she's heard about Kai through them. As she explains, Kai keeps wondering who exactly this girl is, finding it strange that she's learning magic directly with the court mage, and even considering whether she might be someone important, like the priestess. But he quickly dismisses the idea. Rose says yes, that Rena still has that same childish personality as always, and that all the heroes and knights like her a lot. Kai smiles and says he's happy to hear that. He comments he was always a bit worried about Rena, because she was always kind of clumsy. While he says that, Rose ends up slipping a little, and Kai immediately notices, even finding the situation a bit funny. Anna suddenly shows up with a very serious and slightly scary face, catching the two's attention. Kai gets nervous and Rose is surprised, but soon realizes she lost track of time talking to him. Anna warns that Rose should go to sleep soon, and the two leave. Kai just thinks Anna's face is really scary, even when she doesn't say anything. Kai thanks Rose for having taught him several things. Rose answers casually, saying she had fun too. Anna just agrees, keeping to herself. After that, Kai decides he's going to sleep and already says goodbye. As he enters the tent, Rose and Anna walk together through the camp. Kai gets startled when Arn appears at the tent entrance, calling for him. Arn apologizes for coming so late, but says it's nothing important. Kai is a bit confused, but Arn soon says he just wanted to thank him. Kai still says he didn't do anything much, but Arn insists on the thanks. Arn thanks Kai for having talked with Lady Rose, even after everything that happened. He says Rose was very happy to be able to have an honest conversation with him. Kai gets nervous and asks Arn to get up, saying he's the one who should be thankful that Rose spoke with someone incompetent like him. Arn cuts in and says he wanted to tell him something important. He also received a weak gift, so he can understand Kai and relate to him. Arn tells Kai to make an effort and do his best, saying that if he works hard, he will be rewarded. Kai listens seriously, clenches his fist, and answers excitedly, agreeing. The scene ends, showing the night and their tent. In the middle of the night, in the Silka forest, a group is gathered near some trees. A big man called Sir Frankton appears, and someone in a hood recognizes him and says, "You're here, Sir Frankton." The mood is a bit tense, and it seems they're going to talk about something important. Two villains are talking in the forest. One of them asks how things went on the other side, and the hooded guy answers that it all went well. They surrounded the group with Black Panthers and ogres, all summoned by the elite Empire Summoners squad. He guarantees not even a rat will escape, even more so with the two of them attacking together. The other comments on the reputation of the so-called Supreme Summoner, but he says he doesn't like flattery. In the end, they also want to know about the princess's movements. While Princess Rose sleeps, some people discuss how to separate Captain Arnold from her and create confusion, following a prearranged plan. A woman accuses another group of betraying the princess for the throne, saying they only support this because they want to put Prince Gilbert in her place, since Rose is the strongest candidate. One of the characters accuses the other group of having no shame for betraying the princess. The woman mocks and apologizes if she was misunderstood, but reinforces that they are betraying their own mistress. The other side is offended and asks her to take it back, stating that this is an internal matter of the country. The argument heats up until a man interrupts, saying they're not betraying the princess but rather trying to hand her over to the Empire to be married, implying her situation could get much worse. After the argument, Sir Frankton apologizes and the others try to calm things down, saying he's just nervous for being in foreign territory. They realize it's not worth fighting among themselves. At that moment, one of them decides to return to the camp and set the plan in motion, while leaving the mission's responsibility to Sir Signiel and Sir Enz, trusting the two of them. Frankton sees that two of the Empire's strongest commanders have arrived, so he thinks now is the perfect time to expel Princess Rose from the kingdom. He believes that with their help, there's no way to fail. Frankton thinks that if Rose becomes queen, the entire noble order will be destroyed, so he needs to stop her to protect noble society. Finally, he swears loyalty to Prince Gilbert and promises to carry out this mission. A boy walks through the camp at night, regretting not having gone to the bathroom before sleeping. He looks for a safe and discreet place, but keeps debating whether he should go farther or stay near the tent, since it would be embarrassing if someone saw him. After looking around, he chooses a spot, even though it seems a bit dark to see properly. While looking for a place, the boy ends up coming across a mysterious person in the middle of the forest, wearing a cloak and holding a sphere of light. He is surprised to see this scene, and soon a girl also notices the situation, staring at him in shock. The boy is scared upon seeing the person in the forest and thinks he almost got too scared. He tries to ask if that person lives around there, but the woman just watches, thoughtful, as if evaluating the situation. She considers the possibility it was just an accident, but finds it strange and seems suspicious of the boy. The woman gets a mischievous look and decides that, as long as it doesn't hinder the plan, she can have a little fun. She creates some kind of trap around the boy, who becomes terrified. Then she teases him, saying he can try to run if he wants, but hinting that if he doesn't run, it will end badly for him. The woman summons several frightening monsters, including giant creatures and ferocious beasts, saying it would be boring if there wasn't any fun. She makes it clear she's enjoying the situation as the monsters advance, ready to attack. The boy runs desperately through the forest, completely terrified as the monsters chase him. He panics, wondering why he's being attacked if he didn't do anything, questioning who that person is and what is happening. Everything happens so fast that he can only think about running to survive. The boy is exhausted, feeling a lot of pain and struggling to breathe as he tries to run from the monsters. He grows frustrated at being so slow, even while running for his life. Desperate, he begs for his gift to disappear just for a moment, because he believes it's getting in his way. Hearing the monster's footsteps getting closer, he panics, thinking he's going to die before reaching his goal. He laments, thinking everything bad happens to him because of this so-called useless gift. Ever since that day at the camp, in the midst of despair, the boy remembers several bad situations from the past while fleeing. The scenes show monsters being destroyed in brutal ways, and he keeps running, trapped in memories and in the fear that everything will repeat. While he runs and remembers the past, the boy thinks he's always suffering because of this cursed gift. The images show scenes of humiliation and pain, reinforcing how much he feels persecuted and harmed by this power. The boy runs in desperation and thinks he would have preferred a swordsman gift because he would have been happier with a simple life, even without becoming a hunter. He remembers how good it would have been to live normally, get married, and have friends nearby. Now, he feels afraid of dying alone in the forest, attacked by monsters, and laments not having had an ordinary life. The boy arrives exhausted at a waterfall and, out of breath, starts to think that this might be the end for him. He wonders if everything is really going to end there, scared and unable to believe he got to this point. As he stares at the waterfall, the boy notices a light shining inside it. Surprised, he asks himself if that is really a light, and what might be behind the curtain of water. Still being chased, the boy hears the sound of the monsters approaching. He looks at the light inside the waterfall and realizes he has no choice but to push forward. Determined, he runs toward the light, thinking he still can't give up, not in a place like that. After passing through the light, the boy appears in a totally different place, empty and white, with only a solitary door in front of him. He observes the new setting, not understanding where he ended up. The boy is completely shocked to see the new, empty, and unknown place, without understanding what is happening or where he has landed. He looks around, still in shock at the situation. Confused, the boy tries to understand what happened. He realizes that just a moment ago he was in the forest, but now he's in a completely different place. Looking for the way he came in, he's even more surprised to see that it has disappeared and there's no way back. The boy laughs in relief, realizing he managed to escape the monsters this time. He doesn't quite understand what happened, but imagines the cave was some kind of trap. Exhausted, he decides to look for a place to rest and ends up spotting a building in the distance, thinking of going there to stay in the shade for a while. The boy enters the building and finds a strange and grand place, full of crystals and symbols on the ceiling. Surprised, he realizes that place looks like a temple, but he doesn't understand why he's there or what he might find inside. In the center of the temple, the boy finds a pedestal with a hand drawing and an inscription he can't understand. Curious, he wonders whether he should try placing his hand there to see what happens. The boy places his hand on the pedestal, and suddenly, a magical reaction happens. Rays of light begin to appear around him, leaving him surprised by what he has just activated inside the temple. A message appears when the boy puts his hand on the pedestal, saying it is checking access for gifts above the divine level and attempting to register player Kai Heinemann. He's confused, thinking it must be a mistake, since his gift is considered the most useless in the world. In the end, a screen appears saying, "Welcome to the Trials of the Gods," and inviting Kai to proceed, leaving him not understanding what is happening but curious about what these trials might be. Rules for the place appear in front of the boy. He cannot leave until he finishes the game. Time outside stops, and he doesn't age. He gains an infinite item box, some special skills and equipment that don't break, and he can store up to 20 elixir vials in the box. Surprised, he wonders if that's all really the rules of this strange place. The boy realizes the entire building is like a testing dungeon. He thinks that normally only very strong hunters in teams would be able to get through, so he finds it impossible to complete that alone. He gets frustrated, thinking it's all useless, but tries to calm down and decides to focus on better understanding the item box he received. He activates the item box and sees the equipment list, escape shoes, and an indestructible staff. Still doubtful, Kai tests the items and confirms they're really there. He's surprised by the practicality but still doesn't understand how all that can truly help him in that situation. Kai takes the escape shoes out of the item box and is impressed to see they really appeared in his hand. Then he says the command to store the item, and he sees the shoes disappear, returning to the inventory. He gets excited upon realizing the item box truly works, just like the rarities that only exist in merchant-type abilities. Kai uses the appraisal ability on the escape shoes and discovers they increase the chance of escaping from enemies, but only work if he doesn't enter combat. He's impressed, thinking this item is too rare. Then, curious, he wonders if he can use appraisal on himself as well. Kai uses appraisal on himself and sees his blessing, which is actually divine level, but says it's meant for people with the least talent in the world, with lower strength and growth. Even so, there's a special condition under which this gift can surpass every limit in any category. He finds the explanation a bit vague, but he's intrigued and decides to appraise everything he finds there, starting with the elixir in the room. Kai finds a spring gushing elixir non-stop and is shocked since he expected to find only a few bottles. He realizes the entire spring is made of this rare elixir, something he's never seen before, and even tests it by dipping his hand to make sure it's real. Kai is amazed when he realizes the elixir water instantly heals his hand. He gets excited, thinking that with the item box, the appraisal ability, and the discovery of this spring, he can finally be recognized and become a famous hunter like his mother, even after being called incompetent until now. Kai organizes all the items and abilities he obtained: the storage box, elixir, knife, escape shoes, and special appraisal. Determined, he says he has everything he needs, and now only has to find a way to escape that place. Kai enters the dungeon, excited but a bit nervous. He remembers tips from the hunter's manual and tries to stay calm, sticking to the wall. Soon, he reaches a crossroads and notices something strange when touching the wall, growing curious about what it could be. When he touches the wall, Kai ends up activating some secret mechanism. A magic circle or some kind of mysterious symbol begins to glow intensely, indicating that something is about to happen in the dungeon. The mysterious symbol keeps shining and seems to expand even more, giving the impression that some major event or trap is about to be triggered in the dungeon. Everything around grows even tenser. A gigantic insect-like monster suddenly appears and attacks, brutally devouring another creature right in front of Kai. He ends up face to face with the creature, realizing the real danger inside this dungeon. The monster attacks Kai and bites his arm, causing intense pain and despair. He screams, completely terrified, as he realizes he's bleeding and being eaten. Fear takes over him, and all he can think about is the panic of being attacked like that. Kai is bitten brutally and loses a lot of blood, screaming in pain and despair. He tries to react, but the suffering is intense, showing the real danger of that dungeon and how vulnerable he is before the monster. Totally in shock and consumed by pain, Kai screams as he sees his arm being crushed by the monster. Despair overwhelms him, and in the background, a shining door appears, suggesting a possible escape route or the start of something new. After all the despair, Kai starts sprinting down the corridor, blood streaming from his wounded arm as he tries to flee the monster, still struggling to survive inside the dungeon. Kai drops to his knees at the edge of the spring, plunges his face into the water, gasping and exhausted, trying to recover from the attack and stop the bleeding. Kai begins to regain consciousness, still confused, trying to understand where he island. He remembers his mother calling him to the royal capital, the carriage trip, and camping for a week. He recalls leaving the tent and bumping into a red-haired man, which makes his eyes widen in surprise. Kai lifts his head, breathing hard inside the spring. He looks around, still frightened, trying to grasp where he island. Suddenly, he remembers the giant locust monster that tore off his right arm and is shocked to realize the monster really ate his arm. Kai is still in shock from everything but notices he's back at the elixir spring. Kai looks at his own arm in fear, but sees there's nothing there, only the stump. He starts laughing, a bit nervously, realizing he somehow managed to escape the monster. Looking at the elixir spring, he remembers that water can heal after all. It's an elixir. Even still confused, he's grateful to be alive after this ordeal. Kai realizes that even with elixir, his clothes don't return to normal. They were torn, and the blood is still there. He thinks about everything that happened and realizes it wasn't a dream. All of that was really real. He knows he was lucky to survive this time, but if he wants to escape, he'll have to go back into the labyrinth once more. Kai remembers the moment he was attacked and nearly killed by the giant locust monster, feeling again the despair of being caught and having his arm torn off. Desperate, Kai relives the trauma and asks why this always happens to him. He refuses to accept it, gets angry, and cries against the wall, feeling like he never has peace, and everything always ends up this way for him. 7 days have passed. Kai is exhausted, sitting on the ground, staring at some bits of food on the floor. He thinks he has nothing left to eat, and if he keeps going like this, he'll starve to death. He looks down and realizes the only edible thing left is that, right there, showing how critical the situation has become. Kai picks up a poisonous insect in his hand and reads a description saying that bug is so toxic it can kill even a dragon on the spot, but at the same time, it's super nutritious. He stares at the insect, thinks that if even a dragon dies from the poison, he would certainly die too, even though he's starving. It's already day 15 stuck in that place. He takes another sip of elixir just to ensure he'll stay alive, but realizes that if he keeps drinking only this, he won't last much longer. He feels an absurd hunger and starts eyeing the poisonous insects again, thinking that if he doesn't eat soon, he'll starve to death anyway. With no choice left, Kai ends up eating the poisonous insect. Immediately, he feels the heavy effect of the poison, his vision turning completely red and his head spinning. He thinks this is how death comes, and he can no longer see clearly, only everything distorted and dark. Kai wakes up after fainting, thinking he was dead, but realizes he's still alive. A message appears in his head, telling him he acquired the skill of weak poison resistance because he survived eating a super poisonous creature. He hears a voice explaining the ability, saying that he now has resistance to weak poisons, and if he eats 100 more of those creatures and survives, the skill can evolve. Kai is shocked, unable to believe he's actually hearing a voice in his head. Kai feels nauseous, but is grateful the elixir worked. Even feeling sick, he decides to drink more elixir to shake off the malaise and dizziness after eating the poisonous insect. He realizes the elixir is incredible, since he quickly feels better, with no headache or dizziness. Now, even if he needs to eat only insects to survive, he consoles himself, thinking at least he won't starve. He just isn't sure if that's really a good thing, but his stomach is already full, and he finally feels a bit of relief. 100 days later, Kai finally attains the poison resistance ability after eating 100 super poisonous creatures and surviving. He realizes that now, no matter how many of those insects he eats, he won't die. Even thinking he'll have an insect diet for the rest of his life, he celebrates excitedly, shouting, "Yes!" After a year, Kai is already used to the isolation, but realizes he's almost going insane. He starts practicing swordsmanship so he won't lose his mind, trying to keep busy. 10 years pass like this, and he marks each day on the wall. He thinks about how time is frozen in the real world, so for everyone out there, nothing has changed. Even after so long trapped, 40 years go by, and Kai continues training swordsmanship alone in that frozen world. He faces yet another opponent, probably just himself, already used to the endless training routine and to time that never advances outside. After 40 years, Kai is older and ready for his next challenge. He faces it seriously and says that his opponent today will be Roman, showing that he still carries rivalries and motivations from the past. Even after so much time trapped in that frozen world, Kai rushes Roman with everything he's got, shouting and striking hard. The two clash with their weapons, trading quick and precise blows. Kai shows determination, but Roman seems calm, analyzing each movement. The mood is tense, with swords clashing and sparks flying at every block. Kai manages to disarm Roman, sending his weapon flying. Roman is surprised, but Kai wastes no time and already moves on to the next maneuver, showing he won't back down easily. The sense of rivalry grows even stronger. Kai knocks Roman down and stands, pointing the staff at him. He says he finally managed to defeat Roman after so long. Roman looks up, tired, accepting defeat. Kai finishes the training, breathes in relief, and thanks Roman, or rather, the imaginary version of him. He realizes he gained a new ability and says aloud that he's winning more and more in these virtual fights, even defeating the master in his imagination. Kai discovers he acquired a basic sword skill that only improves by training for hundreds of years, non-stop, even in imaginary battles. He realizes that if there's a first stage, there must be others above it. 800 years pass. He finally reaches the intermediate stage and is already getting ready to keep training. Kai readies himself for a new challenge. He looks at the images of the country's 3 legendary heroes: Graham, the dual-bladed swordsman; Silver, an elf known for uniting magic and sword; and Ashburn, the former sword emperor. Decided, Kai resolves that it's time to face the images of these great warriors. After 1,500 years of training, Kai gets irritated and yells at the images of the legendary heroes, saying they're all too weak. Tired of fighting enemies that no longer pose a challenge, he demands that it end already, showing he's surpassed even the legends of the past. Kai faces the images of the legendary heroes that appear all at once, advancing to face him together. Without hesitation, he challenges them all at the same time, showing he's ready to fight them all at once. It's been 3,000 years since the game began. Kai is alone, facing the last possible opponent. He acknowledges that now all that remains is to fight himself, now being the strongest swordsman in the world, above every other swordsman. Kai prepares for the final confrontation. Now, the strongest opponent in the virtual world is himself, Kai Heinemann. Kai rushes forward, leaping at his own clone. He watches the opponent's movement, preparing for the decisive sword strike. Kai and his clone launch themselves at each other at high speed. Mid-leap, he sets his arm to attack, with a determined and confident look on his face, ready for the final clash. Kai uses his appraisal ability to analyze the mysterious enemy in front of him, but he can only discover the name, Bataman. The rest of the status is all unknown. Even so, he gets excited about the challenge and prepares to face this new enemy, curious to see what will happen. Kai plants his feet firmly, staring straight at Bataman and asking to be shown the path he should take. The monster answers with a menacing roar, showing the battle is only beginning. Kai watches Bataman's attack but notices the monster's strike is predictable and far too slow. He dodges easily, showing confidence and analyzing the situation while the opponent advances with brute force. Kai lands a hit on Bataman's face, but the monster reacts quickly, trying to attack with its legs as well. Kai notices and watches closely, ready to respond to the next move. Kai blocks Bataman's kick with his staff, holding the attack firmly. Then he quickly steps back, keeping his guard up and prepared for the monster's next move. Kai grips Bataman's leg tightly, looks with disdain, and asks if that's really all. Then, with a calm expression, he warns that he's going to show something special, even though he thinks this is a waste of time. The monster senses something odd and growls in confusion. Kai then gets ready, activating the Karyu sword special technique, and enters the first form, called Brink of Death, ready to strike with everything. Kai drops to one knee on the ground, while a gigantic shadowy image of the enemy's form explodes behind him, showing the pressure of the blow and the impact of the special attack he just used. Kai sees Bataman's body lying on the ground, defeated. He looks at the enemy and says it was disappointing. Right after, a screen appears showing his stats improved, and Kai realizes that defeating enemies increases his physical abilities. Kai looks at several monsters defeated around him. Everything crumbles just by his touch. He thinks fighting with a sword would have been more interesting, but notices it's getting too easy. Kai takes in the absurd size of the place as he goes down farther and farther, finding everything increasingly vast. He wonders if he should head back using teleport magic, but decides to continue. Even finding it gross, he keeps eating toxic insects to keep up his energy. Kai goes down the stairs of the place, looking around as he realizes he's getting deeper and deeper. He seems surprised and pauses for a moment, letting out an "oh" when he sees something different down below. Kai stops at the end of the staircase and comes face to face with a giant creature, a monstrous wasp, called Killer Hornet. He looks at the enemy and already realizes this fight will be different from the previous ones. A message pops up, warning that the first challenge has begun. Kai must defeat the Killer Hornet. He realizes that every 10 floors a strong enemy appears, gets excited, and faces the wasp, ready to fight, saying he finally found a real opponent. Kai finds it strange when he sees the ground cracking in front of him. He's surprised, his eyes widen, and he just watches as something unexpected is about to burst from the ground. Kai stares at his own arm in surprise, seeing some strange energy or power forming there, enveloping his entire right arm. Kai realizes his left arm was torn off, but he's surprised and excited, saying the enemy is truly impressive. With a smile, he thinks he's finally facing a worthy opponent, and gets pumped to continue the fight, finding the pain fun after so long. Kai watches the enemy closely, his eyes gleaming as he analyzes the movement. Suddenly, several spikes shoot up from the ground toward him, and he quickly moves to dodge. Kai notices the wasp's attack is only in a straight line, and although fast, is easy to dodge. He notes that before attacking, the monster stops and trembles, practically telegraphing the dodge. Just when Kai thinks that's all, the wasp begins to ready another attack, lifting its stinger as if pulling out a trump card. The wasp starts charging a new attack, putting Kai on alert. He realizes that different motion might be a special ability or a more dangerous strike than the previous one. He watches the monster carefully, waiting to see its next move. The giant wasp fires a jet of poison toward Kai, covering a large area of the ground. He stays alert, ready to evade the attack, thinking about how he will respond to the creature's next move. Kai realizes the wasp's attack is ranged and poisonous. He readies his sword, takes a deep breath, and focuses. Then he activates the third form of the Keryu sword technique, Moon Mirror, ready to counter the enemy's next move. Kai blocks the wasp's poison attack with his sword, using the Moon Mirror technique. The poison has no effect on him, and he says ranged attacks like that don't work against him. Kai rushes in fast, using the enemy's own poison against it, saying he's going to return the favor now. The poison corrodes everything around and the monster screams in pain, but Kai watches from a distance, calm, noticing the poison has no effect on him. Kai looks in surprise as the killer hornet, even badly injured, rises along with another insect, ready to attack again. He acknowledges the enemy's resolve, and comments that, even for an insect, it truly carries a warrior's pride. The giant bee prepares to attack once more, but Kai is already ready. He announces he will use the second form of his sword technique, the lightning strike. Kai lines up for the attack and delivers his strike, creating a powerful wave that surges directly toward the giant bee. Kai looks with respect at the defeated bee, saying it answered like a true warrior by using its fastest technique. He watches the monster's body crumble and wishes for it to rest now. Kai receives confirmation that he defeated the killer hornet and completed the first challenge, unlocking a reward. Soon, a chest appears on the ground, and he is surprised to realize he earned a treasure chest as a prize. Upon opening the chest, Kai finds a special sword called Flame Sword, Flamberge, a weapon that uses ambient magic to set ablaze everything it cuts. He quickly understands he now has a sword capable of igniting enemies just by touching them. Kai looks at the new sword and realizes he doesn't need any more weapons, since this one is indestructible. He thinks about using the fire sword's power to roast the insects, and maybe even make them taste better. Excited, he decides to head to the next floor, feeling lucky to have found this sword. Kai looks at the smoke-covered floor after the battle. Then he enters a new room, ready for the next challenge. Kai is surprised to see the floor ahead is actually a field of lava. He watches the smoke rising and realizes the new danger he'll face. Kai gets excited by the challenge of the new lava-filled floor and finds the situation interesting. He realizes it would be nice to have heat-resistant shoes, but decides to store the escape shoes in his item box. Noticing a return magic circle, he thinks this might be a good chance to test something new, and starts planning an experiment to see how his resistance works in this environment. Kai tries to cross the lava floor but ends up burning his foot and feels intense pain. He gets frustrated for not managing to pass in one go and needs to use an elixir to heal before trying again. Kai realizes he can now endure the heat for about 10 seconds and starts prepping more elixirs. After exposing himself to the heat multiple times, he gains a heat resistance skill. Excited with the progress, he decides to keep at this pace, pushing forward and using elixirs without fear, since he has plenty of time and items. Kai manages to acquire the heat absorption skill and proceeds to the next floors. He notices each set of floors has a different challenge: magma, ice, desert, flooded areas, wind blades, and even lightning zones. Each floor has its own hazard, so he ends up taking damage just by standing there, and he needs to adapt to each new environment, excited by the challenge. Kai reaches the 300th floor, exhausted but satisfied because he's got almost every possible resistance now, feeling nearly invincible. Even tired, he heads to the next floor when he hears the sound of water. Along the way, he realizes he picked up some Thunder Beast gloves earlier, but was using them like a towel without even noticing. He sees a staircase leading even farther down. Kai enters a new chamber and immediately runs into the Thunder Tiger King, a massive beast crackling with lightning. He now understands this is the final trial of the upper floors: defeat the Thunder Tiger King. Kai defeats the Thunder Tiger King in a single blow using his Supreme Sword technique. He realizes the tiger was weak, despite being a boss. And right after, a mysterious voice starts speaking, surprising him. Kai notices something strange beneath the arena, sees huge fish swimming, and is startled. Suddenly, he receives a special bonus for having defeated the Thunder Tiger King, but before he can properly react, he's dropped down, falling straight into the next area, screaming in fright. Kai plunges into the water, surrounded by giant, strange fish, still dazed from the fall. He tries to get his bearings, and realizes he'll have to deal with these creatures right away, with no time to think much. The giant fish come closer, showing bodies covered by a thick, detailed carapace, with multiple fins and sharp jaws. They surround Kai, making it clear it won't be easy to get out of there without fighting. Kai finds himself cornered underwater, with one of the creatures opening a giant mouth full of teeth to devour him. He senses the danger, the creature's maw drawing closer and closer, ready to strike. Kai is underwater, terrified, watching the creature's huge, tooth-filled mouth approach, ready to swallow him. Kai is underwater, surrounded by the remains of the defeated monster. He looks satisfied, excited by the intense fight he just won, releasing a few bubbles as he celebrates the victory. Kai finishes his underwater battle, watching the monster's remains float. He comments that this was his first underwater fight, and realizes returning to the point of origin will be complicated, thinking that might be this floor's biggest challenge. He seems a bit tired, but keeps thinking about his next step. Kai looks up at the high wall and thinks, getting back to the starting point will be hard. He's soaked and a bit exhausted after the underwater fight, but recognizes it was his first battle like that, and he got tangled up a bit. He already figures this might be the greatest challenge of this floor. Kai completes the final challenge of the upper floors by defeating the Thunder Tiger King. He hears a garbled voice announcing a rare condition and a special bonus, while a chest appears in the room. Amused by the situation, Kai decides to open the smaller box first, and is surprised to find a rare item hidden in the fish he sliced. Kai opens the chest and finds a magic tome called Introduction to Magic Tomes. He wonders if someone like him, who has an incomplete ability, could use magic. Right after, he opens the other box and is surprised to find a rare sword shining before him. Kai holds the sword called Raikiri, a legendary blade said to have once cut even a thunder god and to be capable of slicing lightning itself. He's impressed by what he's just obtained. Kai looks at the sword and feels it is very natural in his hands, as if he were already used to it. He notices the hilt resembles the wooden swords from the dojo where he trained. Excited, he thinks he finally found a new partner. Kai keeps walking with his new sword, while huge creatures appear ahead in the dark. He realizes that from here on, the challenges will only increase. The text shows that 7,612 years have already passed since the start of the game, and Kai remains curious about what he will find. Kai gets excited upon entering the so-called Dragon Zone. He smiles and sees this as the perfect chance to test his new sword, Raikiri. A dragon appears, ready for battle. Kai charges at the dragons without hesitation, slashing with Raikiri. He lands several blows while the monsters try to react, but he doesn't stop and keeps attacking. Kai gets thrilled with the new sword, feeling it perfectly matches his fighting style. He rushes the monsters, excited, saying the blade is amazing, like it's from another world. Kai reaches the 350th underground floor and runs into a massive creature, looking like a gigantic serpent ready to face him. Kai notes this dragon is smaller compared to others he's fought, but he feels an overwhelming pressure from the creature's gaze. The system announces the 8th trial is about to begin. Defeat the golden dragon Fafnir. Even finding the personalized encouragement funny, Kai gets ready and calls the dragon to fight, prepared for the next challenge. Kai rushes the dragon with confidence, already drawing his sword and saying he wants a soul-stirring fight. The mood heats up, and you can already feel an intense battle coming. The dragon asserts itself, stretches a claw forward, and declares it will be a duel to the death. The fight's atmosphere only gets heavier, making it clear no one is holding back. The protagonist charges full force at the dragon, while a door glows in the corner, showing the path to the next challenge is already open. The fight stays intense, with neither side retreating. The protagonist appears exhausted, covered in wounds, leaning on his weapon as he tries to catch his breath. Even tired, he cracks a smile, showing he's still standing after the whole battle. The boy starts laughing loudly, clearly relieved and even a little incredulous about everything he just went through. He exhales, looks up, and lets his body relax. After that, he heads toward the next door, ready to face whatever comes next. The boy lies on the ground, his body battered and stained, admitting to himself he completely lost this battle. Even so, he smiles, fired up by the challenge, and already decides that defeating this enemy will be his next goal. The boy manages to stop the bleeding and begins to recover, but still finds it strange to feel his body regenerating. Even so, he's already thinking about how to deal with the enemy's ability to nullify physical attacks, planning to look for another way to win next time. He lies down, thinking about magic, and decides to look for some magic tome among the rewards he earned. Using the item box, he finds several books, so he chooses to start with Introduction to Magic, since it's his first time trying to learn this. He discovers that to learn magic, you need to make a contract with the magic tome. He tries the normal method, but because of his incomplete gift, he gets no response. With few options, He decides to read the tome's original text directly and absorb the knowledge little by little, since he has time to spare and can drink elixirs while doing it. While drinking an elixir, he feels a headache and realizes he is suffering magical intoxication from the text. But he soon notices he gained a new magic resistance skill that reduces this side effect. He understands that now studying magic has become much easier and safer for him. After many years devoted to study, he finally begins to understand real magic. 60 years have passed since he started, and now he feels he's getting the hang of things. He understands magic is divided into general and special attributes. To learn general attributes, you need innate talent, but he discovers attributeless magic, which only requires magic power, manipulation, without depending on special talent. He gets excited, realizes he can grow even stronger like this, and celebrates being able to learn that magic. He's still recovering from his injuries and takes the chance to study more about magic and medicine. He realizes that instead of using magic only over large areas of the body, he could focus at the cellular level. Thus, he imagines that if he can direct magic with that detail, it might even be possible to attack at range using a pseudo-remote magic technique. The monster appears roaring, and the protagonist realizes the time has come. He's thankful the system always repopulates the monsters over time, since that way he can train more. He looks at the creature and says it will be his training target again, getting ready to fight. The monster charges, but the protagonist stands firm and uses body reinforcement magic. He activates the power of adamantine strength, readying his body to withstand and face the creature on equal terms. The protagonist passes through the flames unfazed, showing that the pressure of that attack no longer affects him. He comments he doesn't even need to activate ultra regeneration anymore, since his body can already handle that type of situation just fine. Then he gets ready for the next challenge, very confident. The protagonist readies his sword and triggers a magic buff, saying, "Magic weapon reinforcement, demonic armament." He's set for the next strike, now with the sword coated in powerful energy. The protagonist explains that now his Raikiri works as a magic blade, saying that even physical immunity won't stop his attacks. He infused magical energy throughout the sword at the molecular level. Ready for the fight, he apologizes and warns that Fafnir will experience the blade's true power. Then he charges in with everything, shouting, "Let's go!" The boy finishes the strike with his sword, looking forward, still out of breath. He's surprised, eyes wide, but soon his gaze shifts to determination, already gearing up for what comes next. The boy watches the dragon's body crumble into dust, realizes that now only Fafnir serves as a true challenge for him. He grips his sword tightly, showing he's more and more prepared. He uses a magic to see everything around, and notices two new monsters appeared beyond the wall, but they're weaker than the previous ones. He decides not to spend his strongest power on them, and chooses to focus on upgrading an item instead. After more than 11,000 years since the start of the game, he defeats another dragon, and finally masters the supreme throwing technique. Now he feels he's done everything he could, perfected his long-range attacks, and earned the title of Dragon Hunter. In the end, he decides to leave the rest to fate. He steps forward, now looking more mature and ready for the next phase. The status info appears. His name is Iris Heinemann, age 1, 5-age progression, with various attributes and special combat skills, magic resistance, regeneration, and the title of Dragon Hunter. Iris faces Fafnir again, while she shouts it's impossible to defeat her because of physical immunity. Even so, Iris isn't intimidated, says he will win, and the interrupted trial of defeating Fafnir resumes. Fafnir watches Iris and gets excited upon seeing that determined gaze, saying she waited a long time to see those eyes again. Iris remembers how this duel became an obsession over thousands of years and is now ready to finally settle this fight. Iris charges in with everything, while Fafnir meets the attack head-on. The two trade intense looks, each fully focused, and the tension takes over at the moment of impact. Iris's strike lands hard, destroying part of the wall and leaving deep marks in the scenery. The force of the blow shows how determined he is in this fight. The dragon holds firm even after the attack, staring Iris down. It looks ready to counter, showing the battle is far from over. Iris shows Fafnir the spell he just performed, saying it was made especially for him. The dragon watches, curious, while Iris smiles, satisfied with his own progress and preparation for the battle. Iris faces Fafnir with an intense look, speaking about all the years he spent thinking only of him, waiting for this reunion. He declares he dreamed of this moment for thousands of years, and now all he wants is a true fight, where both will give everything. With a crazed smile, Iris invites Fafnir to begin the duel to the death. Fafnir lowers herself to the ground and admits defeat, saying she surrenders. The protagonist is totally stunned to see Fafnir surrender. First he's in shock, then confused, until he asks, eh? Right after, someone screams in despair that this is a lie, that it can't be true, and lets out an indignant no. The protagonist refuses the surrender and insists, telling Fafnir to try more, that this wasn't a joke, and they hadn't even truly crossed swords yet. He shouts that you can't know it's impossible without trying. Fafnir cries, saying it's impossible and gets sad, while the protagonist asks her to look at him, saying he spent years researching magic just to fight her. The system confirms the protagonist passed the 8th trial because Fafnir surrendered. He doesn't accept it and keeps encouraging Fafnir, asking if there isn't anything else they can do. The system voice mentions a special reward. In the end, a bit dejected, he accepts that it's over, but he seems frustrated and disappointed with the result. The system asks if the protagonist wants to let the golden dragon Fafnir join the party. The dragon looks at him with a somewhat odd expression, as if really wanting to join, but the protagonist is confused, thinking it doesn't seem like Fafnir actually wants that. The protagonist thinks there's no way such a gigantic dragon could follow him, but soon realizes that in this kind of dungeon, maybe it's possible. He also notices the dragon can speak the human language. After so long alone, he even starts finding the system's annoying voice a bit comforting, showing how lonely he became. In the end, he figures he might have gotten lucky with all this. The protagonist is startled when he sees Fafnir begin to glow. He realizes the dragon is adjusting its own size, shrinking more and more, while he watches curiously to see how far it will go. When the transformation ends, a girl in flamboyant clothes appears before the protagonist, introducing herself excitedly as Fafnir and saying, "Nice to meet you, master." The protagonist stares at the transformed Fafnir, speechless, while she smiles and cheerfully introduces herself. He stays silent, looking at her, and soon asks in surprise, "Wait, didn't you get a bit too small?" The main character quickly gets ready, tightening the belt and sheathing the sword. He pulls the cloak over his body, ready to move on. The boy finishes dressing in new clothes made from dragon parts and gets excited with the result. He celebrates, finding everything very sturdy and practical, since the old clothes didn't even have a shape anymore from being so worn out. Now he feels ready to continue. The girl asks what she should do with his old clothes, calling them trash, but he quickly replies that they are not just trash, they are important memories. She suggests burning them, but he tells her to just store them in the item box, since it has unlimited space. In the end, they decide to keep them as a memento and agree to go together to the next floor, excited to move forward. The two appear in front of a small house that he built using materials from the labyrinth itself. He proudly shows it, asking if it looks impressive. She looks surprised, but makes a slightly doubtful expression until her stomach growls. He assures her that there is food and asks her to stop making that disgusted face. The boy gets Fafnir's attention by showing her a huge piece of dragon meat that he brought from a lower floor of the labyrinth. She looks at it but complains about his stalling and attitude, even though she thinks he is cute. He answers that he finally found a use for a fire sword he picked up long ago, since he never used it in battle. The boy performs a secret sword-style move, using the special cooking technique, Karyu. A huge flame rises behind him, impressing Fafnir, who stares wide-eyed at everything. The meat comes out perfectly grilled, looking mouth-watering. Fafnir is impressed and praises the master, saying it looks amazing. The boy says it took him 10 years to achieve that color, explaining that the seasoning is just salt, but made from the underground sea itself. Fafnir asks if she can eat it, and he allows it, feeling very satisfied. Fafnir devours the meat happily, eating eagerly and even chewing loudly. Suddenly, she ends up biting the master's hand along with the food. He panics and complains, asking her to let go of his hand because it's not steak, but she says it's fine, because even the master tastes good. He promises to cook more, just so she doesn't eat him again. Fafnir keeps eating non-stop, overjoyed, praising the food and saying it is delicious. The master watches and comments, half laughing, that he never thought he would need to use an elixir before a meal, showing how much she eats. In the end, he feels happy to see her so delighted, while they continue eating together. Fafnir eats cheerfully, holding another piece of meat while watching the boy prepare his own food with a smile. The two seem satisfied and happy, enjoying the meal together after everything they went through. The boy smiles as he eats, feeling that this simple meal tasted far better than usual, as if he had waited thousands of years to savor that flavor again. Fafnir also eats silently, enjoying the moment at his side. As they talk, the boy feels that all the obsession for power he carried finally fades away, as if disappearing little by little. He realizes that the feeling of rivalry against Fafnir no longer exists when he sees her smile. Now, he says they can have a partnership where both sides gain something. They descend to the 400th floor of the underground, where about 13,000 years have already passed since the beginning of the game. Now, the two face a huge, monstrous creature, ready for the next challenge. The boy looks at the creature and comments that he saw something like it in a book, thinking it is called an elephant. Fafnir notices the long nose and gets curious. The creature then praises them for having come so far, saying it is impressive for a new god to reach that floor. The monster introduces itself as Girimakala, a true evil god. The boy and Fafnir look a bit skeptical, commenting that he calls himself an evil god. Meanwhile, Fafnir saves the rest of her steak, saying she will eat it later. Fafnir gets irritated and threatens to hit the monster, showing a sinister smile. The boy asks her to wait, saying that maybe it's better if he sets the example this time. They comment that she is still quite violent, and in the end, he admits it is his fault. The boy faces the giant monster without showing fear. He suggests that the enemy should surrender, saying he does not like killing and just wants to move forward if he is not attacked. The monster seems surprised, thinking about the proposal. While the boy makes it clear that he prefers to free all who do not threaten him, the monster gets furious at the surrender proposal and charges at the boy, shouting in rage. The atmosphere becomes tense, and it looks like a serious battle is about to begin. The monster starts to boast, saying that he is the most trusted servant of the supreme god Mara and that he will soon take the throne of the gods. He says it is absurd for a new god to ask for his surrender, saying that just uttering those words is reason enough for him to be erased from the universe. While the monster gives this whole speech, the protagonist looks at him with a bored face and, without caring much, simply throws an object in his direction. The protagonist launches a powerful attack, creating a wave of energy that shoots upward, while the enemy watches in shock, unable to react. The attack hits the enemy head-on, covering the entire creature with intense energy until it practically disappears in the middle of the blast. The protagonist complains that the enemy's speech was long and annoying. He comments that if the enemy had refused directly, maybe at least his bones would have been left after the attack. The girl watches in surprise at the destruction caused, while smoke and energy still spread through the area. Fafnir praises the protagonist for the instant annihilation of the enemy. All excited, he tries to explain that it was not supposed to be like that, but she misunderstands and thinks they should defeat everyone in that same way. He ends up giving up on arguing and promises to prepare meat for her, while reminding that they should not act violently against just anyone who appears. Fafnir only answers, saying she is hungry. The protagonist finds a rare item called the Subjugation Encyclopedia, which can store the souls of creatures defeated during the trial of the gods. He realizes that only the one who registered the item can summon the monsters stored in it, and the capacity depends on the magical power of the book's owner. He is surprised that such a transcendental-level item appeared in a treasure chest, and Fafnir is also curious about what might come from this item. The system offers the option to save Girimakala's soul in the encyclopedia. The protagonist thinks about it, but before he can decide, Fafnir gets excited and wants to press the yes button. In the end, she presses it forcefully, and the soul is registered in the item, catching the protagonist by surprise. The protagonist discovers that the book allows registering and summoning monsters, finding it very interesting. He starts thinking about testing the item from the very first floor of the dungeon to see what happens. Meanwhile, Fafnir only thinks about food and says she is hungry, showing she has not changed at all. The two are sitting outside the house, and the protagonist says he will try to summon the Girimakala they just captured. Fafnir is surprised and confirms that it is that long-nosed monster they defeated a little while ago, the same one that was completely destroyed in the previous battle. The protagonist makes a hand gesture and activates the magical encyclopedia. He says the command, words, and orders Girimakala to be released. A magic circle appears on the ground, ready to summon the creature. The magic circle starts to glow and emit a loud sound. The light grows until it fills the entire circle, indicating that the summoning is happening and that something big is about to appear in the place. The giant, monstrous-looking creature appears inside the circle, with its muscular body, a long trunk, and several horns. It emerges from the smoke, looking straight ahead, showing that the summoning worked. The creature appears confused, looking around and trying to understand where it island. After a few seconds, it recognizes the two and is shocked to realize that it has been summoned. The boy and the girl watch closely, commenting that the summoning really worked and noticing the monster's long nose. The boy warns that from now on the monster will serve him, since he captured its soul and summoned it through the book. Even so, the creature refuses to obey, so the boy takes a staff and says he will personally train it, making it clear that it will not be easy. After 51,000 years since the beginning of the game, the boy wakes up Girimakala, who is sleeping. The monster wakes up startled and responds in attention position, saying, "Good morning, sir," while the boy just greets him in a normal way. The boy strikes Girimakala with a strong blow, saying he answered too slowly. The monster takes the blow directly and ends up crooked from the hit. The boy scolds Girimakala and orders him to answer and introduce himself first. Girimakala panics, says he is less than an insect, and starts humiliating himself, saying he is useless. Fafnir cheerfully says good morning, while the boy just replies tiredly, still waking up. Girimakala takes a strong hit early in the morning because he took too long to answer, getting struck without even reacting. Girimakala apologizes again, but gets scolded for using that language in front of Faf. Faf cheerfully says good morning, but soon joins the drama and says she also turned into a useless insect. The two end up being forced to do push-ups as punishment before breakfast. After an hour of push-ups, Girimakala is exhausted and almost voiceless. The protagonist says they will go back to the underground to continue filling the encyclopedia. Faf praises him, but asks if he got another power item. He says no, and comments that he wants to test a new item he got yesterday. The protagonist explains that the gloves he received can limit his own power, so he can fight under more balanced conditions. He comments that if he lowers his stats to the maximum, fights until nearly dying, and still wins, his stats increase a little. Meanwhile, Faf is assigned the task of cleaning the house and restocking supplies, answering energetically with a, "Yes, sir." After 65,000 years since the beginning of the game, they arrive at the 700th floor of the underground. The place is completely desolate, with no trees or stones, only an intense red sky. The protagonist comments on the empty scenery, and Faf notices that the area seems dangerous, possibly even causing instant death. They also notice something strange in the distance, wondering if it might be a boss. A towering being engulfed in flames appears, staring at the group. The creature, which seems to be the floor's boss, observes and says it does not recognize them, but admits that they have come far for someone unknown. The protagonist is worried because the gloves are lowering his stats, so he cannot feel the enemy's power just from its aura or killing intent like before. He thinks about taking off the gloves, but hesitates, because if the enemy is weak, he would end up wasting experience. He realizes that the higher the monster's rank, the more hidden its killing intent. Then, he asks Fafnir what she thinks of that creature standing before them. Fafnir looks at the monster and says, "It looks delicious, already drooling." The protagonist realizes she only thinks about food and asks if she really likes chicken meat that much. Fafnir answers as if they were talking about a barbecue and not about the enemy's power, and the protagonist is left unsure if she even understood the situation. The monster, on the other side, wonders what those two are talking about, since to them, he seems like just a bizarre bird. In the end, the protagonist tells Fafnir not to be so greedy with food, since she should be more well-behaved. The protagonist ends up calling the monster weird and a food ingredient, even trying to say it was just a manner of speaking. The monster becomes enraged at that, finding it absurd to be called an ingredient, and decides not to forgive the protagonist, saying it was an unforgivable insult to the divine phoenix of the island. The girl activates the iron dragon armor, called Kornav, and excitedly says that she will take care of the enemy. The protagonist realizes she only wants to eat the monster, but still lets her act, while she assures she will handle everything. The group realizes that the challenge to defeat the Phoenix has started again. The Phoenix appears irritated, calling the challengers fools, and prepares to attack with its flames, threatening to purify everyone with fire. Kornavi jumps into action, surprising the enemy and unleashing a powerful attack from above. She does not hesitate and shows confidence, saying not to underestimate her, as she releases a devastating strike. Kornavi descends with force and executes the Lion Sky Slash, hitting the enemy with a direct and powerful strike from top to bottom. Kornavi hits the enemy with her blow, causing a huge impact. She wastes no time, already preparing to strike again, excited and determined, while shouting that she only needs one more hit. Kornavi charges forward at high speed toward the creature, ready to finish the attack as the silhouette of the enemy stands out in the background. Kornavi leaps at the enemy, determined, with a focused look. The enemy watches, ready for the next clash. Cornavi finishes the attack and lands heavily on the ground, full of confidence. Faf praises the way she named the special move, while another character seems surprised that this was the reason for her excitement. Cornavi says it's time to cook and asks the master for help. They decide to attack the monster's leg, already thinking about roasting the meat. The monster begins to burn on its own, surprising the group, who comment that it even looks tastier and seems to be regenerating, but Faf insists that she finish the enemy for good. The phoenix rises from the flames again, declaring itself immortal, and the bird god that always resurrects. Faf and Cornavi realize that the enemy has not yet been defeated, and Cornavi already prepares to attack again, while Faf enjoys the situation. The character starts to get excited with the challenge of facing an immortal bird, saying he had not felt that emotion for a long time. He plans to test the enemy's immortality by tearing out its organs and then burning everything to ashes, while Cornavi watches worried and tries to interrupt, reminding him that Faf is watching. The character looks surprised and scared, realizing that something strange is happening. He fails to understand the situation and begins to question what he is seeing. They finally defeat the phoenix by cutting it into small pieces. The group is surprised, but receives confirmation that the phoenix has truly been defeated this time. The group is still shocked, unable to believe they actually defeated the phoenix since it claimed to be immortal. While they try to process what happened, a message appears asking if they want to add the phoenix's soul to the encyclopedia. The character becomes irritated and takes out his frustration on what is left of the phoenix, complaining that it called itself immortal but was defeated so easily. He calls the phoenix useless and laments that it didn't even last 10 years, while Cornavi watches surprised. Cornavi scolds her father for the way he speaks, saying it's not right to use that kind of language. He tries to justify himself, saying he only did it on purpose to show what should not be done, but she insists that it's not right anyway, reminding him that it sets a bad example. Cornavi answers cheerfully, but ends up calling the master a crappy master as a joke. They decide to return home, and the father reflects on how being a parent is difficult, while the girl tries to show that she is a good girl. Faf is revealed to be a divine dragon, with almost godlike status. She has been trapped in the labyrinth for so long that she no longer even remembers the reason. Faf was left there to guard the place and kept waiting for someone to come challenge her, remembering important words she heard from someone special in the past. After such a long time waiting alone in the labyrinth, the moment finally comes when Faf's master appears before her. With a single blow, Faf's master destroys the protected wall of the labyrinth, something no one else could achieve. Faf feels fear of him at that moment, but remembers the words she heard in the past. One day someone would come to free her, and when that happened, she should follow him. From that moment on, Faf begins to live at her master's side. He shows himself to be kind, knows how to cook very well, and, over time, ceases to seem frightening. Faf feels happy, enjoys his company, good food, and for the first time in a long while, forgets what loneliness island. Since then, Faf and her master have always been together. They adventured, trained, read books, and even slept side by side. Faf came to admire her master deeply, enjoying every moment together. Faf asks for more food excitedly, praising the master's dish and saying it is delicious. The master thanks her and says he improved his cooking thanks to her. They talk about lunch, showing how now they enjoy together even the small things of daily life. In the morning, some creatures approach and bow to the group, bringing a report. They say that 2 new allies have joined their army and show respect, ready to work together from then on. The group thanks the monsters for their help and entrusts tasks to them, such as preparing the bath and gathering ingredients for dinner. The monsters respond happily and promise to fulfill everything. Faf feels proud to see the respect others have for her master, and they set out together for the next objective. The group defeats another monster, celebrating the victory. Faf runs excitedly to the master, praising him for managing to win again with just 1 strike, showing admiration and happiness. After the victory, Faf celebrates and calls her master, but notices that he has a lonely expression, even when winning easily. Sometimes the master seems to feel an emptiness, which makes Faf a little worried. One night, Faf wakes up to go to the bathroom and notices her master is not at her side. Frightened, she thinks she has been left behind and runs through the house in desperation to find him, feeling scared of being alone again. Faf's master is outside, staring thoughtfully at the horizon beyond the labyrinth, with that lonely expression he sometimes showed her. Faf watches from a distance, feeling sad, and realizes that the master murmurs an unknown name, someone he seems to value greatly, which makes Faf feel even more alone. Faf enters crying, shaken, and the master notices, He asks if she had a nightmare and tries to calm her, saying that he also dreamed about the past. Then, he suggests they go back to sleep, since the next day they will return to the underground. Faf agrees, still emotional. Faf, still shaken, asks her master if he will always stay with her and never leave her alone. He hugs Faf and gently assures her that he will not abandon her, comforting the girl, who feels relieved by the answer. The master reminds Faf that he always told her the truth and never lied. Faf confirms that she was never deceived by him, and the two reinforce their trust in each other, showing the bond of sincerity and care between them. The master makes a promise to Faf, saying they will always be together. Faf, emotional, says that she loves him and wishes that happiness would last forever. She falls asleep relieved and happy, feeling safe by the side of the one she loves. The group is congratulated for completing the trial of the gods. As a reward, they are informed that Kai Heinemann's memories will be restored to the moment before the trial began, while everyone crosses a magical portal. Kai Heinemann is heading to the royal capital. On the way, he is chased by mysterious black beasts and a red-haired man, until he ends up entering a dungeon called the Trial of the Gods. Kai realizes that he can only leave the dungeon if he completes the challenge. Time is frozen both inside and outside the place. He faces various monsters, makes new alliances along the way, and in the end manages to escape. Despite everything, Kai completes the dungeon, even though 100,000 years and 7 days passed inside. Now, he is accompanied by Astaroth and Fafnir, who were previously final bosses of the Trial of the Gods, and they all return to the real world. When Kai is about to face Astaroth, she sees his status and is so shocked that she surrenders before the battle even begins. Fafnir immediately warns Kai that someone is approaching. The red-haired man reappears with a confident smile, accompanied by wolves. He taunts Kai and his group, asking if they are done running away. Kai recognizes the red-haired man from the trial, remembers he should have been very strong, but thinks he does not look like it. The enemy notices Kai's new companions and makes an ironic remark about the girls in the group, while Astaroth stays alert and calls her master. Fafnir gets irritated and wants to attack the enemy, but Kai asks her to calm down, saying he needs to ask a question first. Astaroth prepares to fight, but Kai insists on resolving the situation. The enemy is confused by the group's attitude, thinking he is in control. Kai says the enemy is not even worth drawing his sword for. He attacks easily, injuring the adversary's hand, who panics and orders his wolves to attack desperately. Kai uses an advanced sword technique and easily defeats the wolves. The enemy, terrified, calls Kai a monster and tries to flee in desperation. Kai executes the first form of his technique, defeating all the enemies at once. Fafnir gets excited about his strength, while Astaroth comments that those opponents never stood a chance against them. The red-haired man, who was part of the Empire's summoner group, is captured and confesses everything without resistance. He reveals that the Empire, together with a noble from the Kingdom of Amelia, planned to kidnap Princess Rosemary. For that, they sent the Sword Emperor and the summoner Enz, which is why he was wandering in that territory. Kai feels the desire to protect Princess Rose, and, taking advantage of the situation, also wants to face the Sword Emperor for being a strong opponent. Astaroth realizes that Kai is excited and warns Fafnir, thinking the master is about to do something reckless. Kai uses a book to give orders to the dungeon's locust monsters, telling them to attack the Empire's summoners, who are wearing black cloaks and accompanied by panthers. Astaroth is surprised, thinking that Kai managed to tame the dungeon monsters. The locust monsters receive the order and attack mercilessly, causing panic among the enemies while destroying everything in their path. The princess notices the noise outside and asks what is happening. Soon, Anna warns that they are under attack, asks for everything to be prepared immediately, and says that the enemy is the Empire, revealing that there was a traitor among them. The guards rush to take the princess away and say they need to flee immediately. The enemies appear in the camp, surprising everyone. Someone falls to the ground, and the princess screams in fright. She looks at Lord Fraction and asks if he betrayed his own land. Amid the chaos, she still wonders if her brother really betrayed her. Lord Fraction tries to justify his betrayal by saying that everything he did was for the country, wanting to ensure safety by marrying Princess Rose to the Prince of the Empire. But the princess does not accept this, calls him a traitor, and says she will not allow it, since it only brings suffering to the people. The captain of the knights, Arnold, arrives and apologizes to the princess for being late. He says to leave the rest to him. Arnold then charges at Lord Fraction, tells him to prepare himself, and makes it clear that he will protect the princess. Lord Fraction is frightened in the moment. The Empire's swordsman, Zignir Gastria, appears and challenges Arnold to a duel to the death. He is excited to fight the strongest swordsman of the kingdom, saying he finally found a worthy opponent. Arnold is surprised to realize he is facing the famous Imperial Sword Emperor. Arnold and Zignir begin to fight, both evenly matched, and the atmosphere becomes tense, with everyone watching the impressive battle. Suddenly, something strange appears and goes straight for Arnold, leaving everyone shocked. In the middle of the fight, Zignir is interrupted by Enz, who uses an attack that affects Arnold's nervous system. Zignir is furious for having the duel interrupted and accuses Enz of disrespecting a swordsman's honor, but Enz only says he is following the Emperor's orders. Arnold begins to feel the effects of the attack, while everyone is shocked by the situation. Arnold exchanges a look with Anna, who understands the situation and gives a signal. She tells Rose that the priority now is to ensure the princess's safety, so she instructs them to flee quickly through the forest, while the enemy is distracted, even if Arnold has to stay behind. As Rose tries to escape, one of the soldiers grabs her from behind and says she will not get away. Anna reacts, but the traitors ask the chief if they can take Rose, and he allows it. Anna tries to fight but is restrained too, calling the other a traitor. Anna is grabbed by force, while Rose screams, begging them to let her friend go. Lord Fraction orders that Rose be left in his care. Anna struggles and becomes furious, saying it is unforgivable. The situation worsens, and everyone realizes how terrible it island. Rose falls into despair, screaming for help while Anna also suffers. Rose begs for rescue, no matter from whom, while everyone around watches unable to do anything. The feeling of betrayal and helplessness takes over the moment. Kai notices something strange, and suddenly, one of the henchmen is caught off guard, taking a blow that makes him faint instantly. Everyone is confused about what just happened, and Rose takes the opportunity to free herself from the aggressor. Rose is surprised to realize that the one who saved her was Kai, who is known as the Incompetent. She gets up, looking confused at him, while Kai seems unconcerned, wondering if that kind of trap was really that easy to break. In this world, when people turn 13 years old, they receive a blessing from God, known as a gift. Some are blessed as sword saints, and others as spear kings. In times of crisis, these bearers of extraordinary gifts appear. Even so, the gift that Kai Heinemann received was considered the weakest and most insignificant in history. Kai was called the most incompetent in the world, carrying this title even without understanding the real reason behind it. Kai extends his hand to help Rose get up. She thanks him a little shyly. Soon after, Faf appears in a lively way, scaring some enemies who run away in desperation, thinking she is a monster. Kai observes the situation, while Astaroth, Fafnir, and the allies take the lead to deal with the remaining enemies. Faf calls out excitedly for her master. Rose, still confused about everything, asks Kai what is going on. Rose remembers the stories she heard about Kai from her childhood friend Rena, who is a sword saint. She always heard that Kai was a weak and innocent boy, and now finds it hard to believe that he is the owner of a useless gift. Anna and Arnold are trapped by slime-like creatures that stick to them out of nowhere. Rose is startled to see the two in this situation, and realizes it is probably some monster attacking. Kai explains that those slimes are not enemies, they are his healing slimes. Arnold feels his body getting better, and Anna realizes that the wounds are closing and feels stronger. Everyone is relieved and thankful for being safe. Kai praises the monsters for helping and pets the slime and the locust, saying that they are not really summons but companions. Arnold is surprised by Kai's abilities. Meanwhile, someone complains to Lord Fraction about the situation, thinking it is all a disgrace. The Empire's soldiers return to the scene, and the strong commander is irritated by the delay in capturing the princess. The enemy swordsman says he will face the last swordsman left, pointing at Kai. Kai realizes he is facing the Sword Emperor he had always wanted to fight. The Sword Emperor warns Enz not to interfere, threatening to kill him if he does anything unnecessary. Kai observes the enemy's stance and movements, and feels disappointed. Arnold and the princess worry as they see Kai stepping forward, thinking it is dangerous. Kai stares at the Sword Emperor and says that he is too inexperienced, not even worth pointing a blade at. The other gets irritated, ready to fight, and Kai says he will teach him a lesson. The Sword Emperor charges with full force, attacking Kai with his giant sword. Kai gets ready and blocks the attack, showing that he is prepared for combat. Kai begins to fight against the Sword Emperor, using only a branch. Even so, he manages to dodge and block all the attacks, leaving everyone surprised, not understanding how the Emperor cannot even touch him. As the fight continues, Arnold realizes that the difference in skill between Kai and the Sword Emperor is absurd, as if it were someone trained for millennia against a beginner. The Emperor gets irritated for not being able to hit Kai, and Rose thinks that it is not just talent, but the result of heavy training. Kai looks seriously at the Sword Emperor and says that he does have talent, but he should think about the reason he received that title from the former Sword Emperor. The opponent is left speechless, clearly shaken by what he heard. Kai decides to spare the Sword Emperor, recognizing his potential, and orders the entire Empire group to retreat. The Sword Emperor is frustrated, but ends up obeying and returns to the Empire with the others. The masked man from the Empire realizes that Kai is far too dangerous and decides to act. He begins the summoning of the Spirit King, Ifrit, enveloped in flames, saying that Kai may become a threat to the Empire and that he will die right there. The Spirit King Ifrit appears gigantic and menacing, ready to attack. The masked man orders Ifrit to consume all the mana from his allies if necessary, telling him to burn everything to ashes. His subordinates start being consumed by the flames, while Kai watches surprised. Kai stands in the middle of the flames but suffers nothing. He says that those pathetic flames cannot burn him. Then he summons Giramakala and orders him to teach the Spirit King Ifrit a lesson, making it clear that he is calm and confident, even surrounded by fire. Kai watches as Giramakala appears and attacks Ifrit. The Spirit King Ifrit is taken by surprise by the attack and seems to suffer the blow, while everyone is shocked at what just happened. Kai orders Giramakala to eliminate the evil spirit for him. Giramakala obeys respectfully, saying he is honored to serve. The Empire's summoner, terrified, tries to negotiate desperately, offering wealth and glory, but Kai ignores him and prepares to finish the enemy. Kai ends the fight with a quick slash and turns his back on the defeated enemy, saying he does not need anything he offered. He adds that he does not value the words of someone who sacrifices his own allies as bait. Kai calls his allies and says, "There is nothing left to do there," so everyone gets ready to leave. Meanwhile, one of the men tries to convince Kai and Lord Fraction to join the next king, promising a comfortable life full of privileges. Even so, they simply ignore him and keep walking away. Kai replies bluntly that he is not interested. He also says that a royal family that discriminates based on gifts or lineage is nothing more than a bunch of pests. His words anger the princess and the guard, who become furious, thinking that he is belittling the royal family of Amelia, even though he is their benefactor. Anna already draws her sword, saying she will not forgive that. The princess orders them to stop and says that she finally found someone who thinks like her. She says that instead of depending on royalty or nobility, every citizen should take part in the government. Anna is worried, but the princess says it is fine. She admits that she would give up being a princess to build a better country, and that is her dream. Princess Rosemary makes a decision out loud, introduces herself as the first princess of Amelia, and officially appoints Kai Heinemann as her royal guard. Kai is surprised by the appointment. When Rosemary names Kai as her royal guard, some people are shocked and question the decision, saying he is a useless traitor. Rosemary responds by saying she has no one else she can trust in the palace. For her, there is no one more suitable than Kai, since he does not care about fame or wealth, and is even stronger than the Sword Emperor. Rosemary looks at Kai and says that more than anything, she wants him to be her royal guard. She extends her hand, asking him to swear loyalty with a kiss on her hand if he accepts. Kai becomes serious, thinks for a moment, and holds her hand, while Rosemary smiles slightly, waiting for his answer. Kai accepts being the royal guard, but says he will only do it until the princess finds someone more suitable for the position. He strikes his fist against his chest as a pledge, while Rosemary is surprised and moved by his response. Kai and Rosemary shake hands, confirming the decision. Everyone is happy with the result, and Kai's companions already know that following the princess will probably bring even more confusion and fights for him. But deep down, that is just the way Kai Island. The princess begins writing a letter to her best friend, Rena. She tells her that she is going to the great city of Bals to deliver Lord Fraction, and that she entrusted the letter to Arnold. She imagines that Rena must have been very worried when she heard about the attack, since everything involved a lord allied with the Empire. The scene shows that they are now in a city. The princess is talking to another girl and comments that her childhood friend, Kai, expelled all the Empire's soldiers. She says that Kai is accompanying her at the moment, and that makes everything more peaceful. Kai notices that the princess is laughing and asks why she looked at him that way and started laughing. Kai and the princess are resting and enjoying the view of the city of Papla. They seem more relaxed after everything that happened, looking at the horizon and enjoying the moment. Kai and the princess are sitting at a table talking about the reason they are still in the city. She explains that the king asked them to stay for a few weeks, until he is sure that the city is safe. Kai says he accepted being the royal guard, and the princess says she was happy with his decision, because if he had refused, they would have had to call Rina the legendary swordswoman. Kai thinks about his childhood friend Rina, who became a heroine and is training in the capital, and wonders if he is only protecting the princess because she and Rina are close friends. The princess says she understands that Kai did not want to put his best friend in danger. She says that, on the other hand, she wants to protect her own childhood friend. Kai confirms that he is only acting as a substitute royal guard, but she thanks him anyway. He says it is better to know everything than to stay in the dark. In the end, the princess smiles and asks Kai for one more favor, leaving him a little surprised. Two girls are sleeping peacefully in bed. One of them seems to be an elf and has an open book beside her, while the other sleeps leaning against her. The two seem very comfortable, enjoying a moment of morning peace. The boy opens the bedroom door and shouts for everyone to wake up. A little creature is sleeping curled up on top of the bed near a pile of books. The elf wakes up, startled by the noise, while the other girl is still lying down. Rose wakes up, hugging the pet, says good morning to everyone, and seems cheerful. The princess also says good morning, all smiles. The knight appears, asking what the commotion island. Rose says she can make a cake to thank for the help the other day, even though she is not as skilled as Kai. The princess's eyes sparkle with excitement, and she already asks Rose and Kai to go together to the city to buy the cake ingredients. Kai leaves the princess under the care of the lion Nemea, while he and Rose go to the city to buy the cake ingredients. Rose goes out happily, saying goodbye with a, "We're going." The princess watches from the window, a little worried, but the knight comments that even though they may seem indifferent, both Kai and Rose take things seriously. The princess thinks that if she had not suggested this, they would not have left the inn, since they were trying to protect her all the time. The city of Papla is located in the middle of the Silk Forest and receives hunters from all over the world. The place grows thanks to the trade of the typical red fruit of the region, called Papla. The city is also a place of freedom, where beast people who suffer persecution end up gathering and living in peace. The atmosphere is lively, full of fairs and many kinds of people walking around. Kai remembers the stories his mother used to tell about being a hunter, and says he had always wanted to know a place like Papla. He thinks that maybe working as a hunter to earn money would not be such a bad idea in the future. As they walk, he notices a commotion and, curious, decides to go there to see what is happening. Rose and the other girl ask where Fen went, while looking confused at the crowd. During the event, a man presents the freshly harvested papla fruit to the Lord and asks him to try it. When the noble prepares to eat, someone in disguise deliberately uses magic to rot the fruit, trying to sabotage everything. Kai and the others notice the trick and comment about the servant behind the noble of Amelia, who was the one that used the magic to spoil the fruit. Lord Getty bites into the fruit and realizes it is completely rotten. He becomes furious, shouting and accusing everyone of insulting the Blood Alliance, saying that offering him a spoiled fruit is the same as directly insulting Prince Gilbert. The atmosphere becomes heavy. Everyone is surprised, and Papla's representatives try to understand what happened, since this could cause a huge problem for the city. The tension rises even more. Lord Getty orders that everyone in the city be prepared for execution for treason, but also offers another option, to pay an absurd sum of 50 million ores as compensation. The townspeople become desperate, since that amount is impossible for them. Fraction, noble of Amelia, is seen as someone beyond salvation. Kai observes the situation, already understanding it could get worse, while his companions suggest that maybe they should not get involved. When everything seemed lost, two unexpected figures appear in the city. The crowd is shocked to recognize the two as members of the legendary Four Sacred Guilds. The leader, Coin Spider from the Thorn Sword Guild, introduces himself, along with Copper, the Sage, and his sub-leader. They make it clear they are there representing one of the most respected guilds, which completely changes the atmosphere and makes everyone stop to see what will happen. Coin Spider asks the noble to calm down out of respect for his guild. Copper says that Prince Gilbert is kind and would not like to see the people suffer. Even so, the noble insists that he cannot ignore the mistake of the townspeople, but ends up yielding because of Coin Spider. He warns the mayor to make sure the next fruit delivered is perfect, ending the confusion for now. Coin Spider resolves the situation as expected, and the people feel relieved. Kai and Rose, however, are suspicious, thinking it is all a farce. They suspect that the Count and the Coin Guild are involved in some scheme. Fen, the little creature, suddenly runs off, and Rose shouts, asking where he is going, while Kai only thinks that he really did well not to get further involved in that. The half-beast boy is surrounded and starts being verbally attacked by other people, who blame him and his family for the rotten fruit incident. They shout, calling him ungrateful and saying that, being a half-beast, he did not realize the fruit was spoiled. The atmosphere gets heavy, until one of them goes for physical aggression, pushing the boy to the ground, while he hears that he only gets in the way and should die. He remains fallen, and someone cries, saying that now the farming family does not know how they will survive. The half-beast boy continues being chased, and this time a gang called Parasite, known for being violent, appears. They approach with a threatening smile, saying that if it is about killing, they can take care of it. The boy becomes frightened, tries to run, but ends up taking another blow and drops a fruit on the ground, while crying out in pain. The boy lies on the ground, injured, hearing the gang say that it is inconvenient for his family to remain alive. One of the men steps on his head, threatening him. Meanwhile, the boy remembers his father and thinks that the poplar fruits they cultivated were first class. He does not understand why all this is happening and wishes he were stronger, like a hunter, to be able to defend himself. One of the thugs even laughs and says that his head will turn into a rotten fruit like the one on the ground. When the boy is surrounded and about to be attacked, Fen appears growling and stands between him and the aggressors, ready to protect. One of the men mocks, asking if a dog is really going to protect the boy, and threatens to kick Fen away. The boy looks surprised, realizing he is being protected by Fen. The group says that tourists should not interfere in the city's affairs, but Fen speaks up and apologizes for having run ahead, leaving everyone shocked because the dog talked. Rose calls Fen and goes to him, but suddenly Kai appears and kicks one of the men hard, saying that he will get more involved than just sticking his nose in. The bullies are shocked by the strength of the attack. The men try to attack Kai using magic. One throws a fireball, and the other uses a water jet, thinking they will manage to bring him down. But Kai does not even care, and already asks if he should at least leave one of them alive, showing that he is completely in control of the situation. Kai defeats everyone in a single strike, not even giving them time to react. The fight ends in an instant, leaving people just watching, surprised at how easily he resolved everything. The boy thanks Kai, saying that even his wounds were healed, and Kai tells him to thank Fen for that. A man, terrified, calls Kai a monster. Right after, Kai asks Astaroth and Fafnir to take the boy to Rose's house and hide him there. Kai comments that it seems the rotten fruit is not the only thing reeking of conspiracy in the city. The girl and the elf confirm that they got what they needed. Kai approaches one of the defeated men, calls the group Parasite, and orders him to take them to their boss. The man is frightened, in pain, but listens to the request. Rose happily appears, saying that the bread just came out of the oven, and everyone praises the smell. The girls thank for being able to use the cafeteria oven and praise the taste of the bread. One of them comments that Kai will not return that night because of the investigation, and the elf says he is far too kind. Rose becomes a little thoughtful, looking at the bread, saying that she wished Kai could taste it, since he was the one who taught her the recipe. But soon the other girl says she can make it again later, and already asks for another slice, excited. Rose laughs and agrees, feeling better. A mysterious boy is in a forest, a little far from the city of Papla, near a cave. He stands in front of a strange crystal, performing a ritual. He smiles confidently, and orders the legendary creature to revive at once. While some people seem relaxed or distracted in the city, the mysterious boy finishes the ritual, and orders the legendary creature to devour everything it finds along the way. He starts laughing loudly, showing he is excited about the chaos he is about to cause. Anna shouts furiously at Kai, wanting to know what he was thinking, getting involved in the city's affairs, even being a royal guard. Rose tries to interrupt, but Anna continues, saying she will not forgive him for putting the princess in danger. Kai apologizes, but seems to know he complicated the situation. Kai says that the conspiracy involves nobles connected to Amelia's royal family. He questions whether the princess would have kept silent about it. Rose, determined, asks to gather the people, as she will organize an information session for the beast folk. Kai asks if there is anything he can do to help, showing that he is on her side. Rose gives a presentation to the people, showing that the prosperity of Papla City depends on the trade of agricultural products made by the beast folk. She explains that there are several groups involved in the conspiracy. The parasite thugs who do anything for money, the mayor who discriminates against the beast folk, the coin guild, seeking fame, and nobles like Getty who want to monopolize the land. In the end, she presents evidence that these groups have joined forces to expel the beast folk from the city. It shows the group of villains gathered at a table, celebrating the success of their plan. They praise the mayor for using magic to rot the crops, and say that the Count's acting was great to deceive the people. They comment that in a few days, the group of infiltrated thugs will attack the city, and then it will be the turn of the Coin Guild to appear as the hero. In the end, they also emphasize that no one suspects that they are all working together. It shows the villains detailing the last part of the plan. The leader of the Coin Guild says that they will save the city from a fake beastfolk rebellion, which will be staged by the thugs themselves. They plan to capture and sell all the beastfolk as slaves after the attack, in addition to bribing the parasite gang to clean up the mess. One of the villains, Beelzebub, who is a specialist in interrogation, appears saying that he obtained all the information from the parasite, including details of the meetings. The panel ends with them toasting to Lord Gilbert, the true mastermind behind everything. Rose and her group are shocked by the truth about the city attack. They talk about how reporting this to the king and asking for reinforcements would take too long. The people comment that the mayor had always been cold with the beast folk, but they never imagined he would be capable of something like that. Everyone is outraged to discover that even the famous Coin Guild is involved, organizing a bandit attack just to blame and expel the beast folk from the city. Rose, even trying to trust Kai, is clearly worried about the situation. The beast folk boy tries to tell the truth to the others, but no one believes him. Some say it is ridiculous and leave, while others remain doubtful. In the end, he thinks that no one would believe something so terrible. His parents ended up fainting from so much stress over the situation. The boy hesitates, but when Kai asks what he wants to do, he replies determinedly that he cannot forgive those who use the papla fruits that way. He says he wants to protect the city from those men. The people around are surprised by his attitude. The people start to defend the Zaruba family, saying that their fruits never rot, and that what happened makes no sense. Everyone comes together to solve this together, showing trust in Shira and his family. Kai says that this is the result of the strength and trust they have built. Shira becomes emotional and thanks, saying, "Thank you, Kai." Kai says there is no need for thanks, and reminds them that it is their responsibility to protect the city. The people become worried because they are only farmers, mostly women and children, and do not know how to fight. They ask what they can do in such a short time. Kai says that he could even defeat all the bandits alone, but he cannot always stay protecting the city or them. Kai says that the city needs to be protected by the beast folk themselves, otherwise everything loses its meaning. He asks if everyone agrees, and the crowd understands. Kai raises the group's spirits by saying that he will support everyone who has the courage to fight for their own freedom and future. The people start getting excited together, while Rose keeps thinking about what Kai is planning to do. A few days later, in a cave, a group called Calamity is about to revive a demonic beast called Tautetsu to attack the city of Papla. The leader of the group, Nail, says that this kind of job is easy for them and even mocks the other demons, saying they would never fail. The elf woman reminds them that the job is costing 100 million ores and asks to make sure everything is done. They plan to destroy Papla in just a few hours without giving the people a chance to react. The group witnesses Dilma, the spirit word user, giving an order for one of the demons to simply melt, showing how dangerous he island. The elf is shocked and realizes that he is much scarier than he looked. Dilma says he will spare the others only because they are important sponsors. The atmosphere becomes tense, with everyone fearing his next move. The elf is ordered to leave while Dilma is still in a good mood. Shortly after, her group begins to retreat, saying that they will withdraw to Balse. They decide not to worry about surveillance and quickly leave the place without looking back. The protagonist receives information that unknown forces and a demonic beast are planning to invade the city. He becomes thoughtful but decides to see how the beast folk's training will turn out. He watches everything from the top of a building with the rest of the group, ready to act if necessary. The bandits are disguised as beast folk and receive the leader's order to attack the city. He tells the group to grab everything they find in their way, and everyone shouts excitedly, ready to start the invasion. One of the bandits decides to start by invading a house, but notices that there is a child awake there. He gets ready to attack, finding it strange that a child is awake at that time, and goes for her without hesitation. Shira reacts quickly, hits the bandit with a direct blow, and knocks him down on the spot. She is surprised she managed it, saying that she only did it the way Kai taught her. The others cheer excitedly, realizing that it really worked. Right after the information session, the group gathers in a training field. One of the characters offers to turn anyone into a warrior in a short time. Fafi introduces himself as teacher, ready to train everyone who wants to get stronger. Meanwhile, Norn prepares a spell to slow down time in that area, helping the group gain more training time. The group begins intense training, focusing first on increasing everyone's endurance. They run long distances and do hundreds of squats and push-ups. Kai explains that even with a large group of bandits, if they can master a precise technique and repel the enemies right at the beginning, they can secure victory. The goal is to show their strength, both to the leaders and to the whole city. The mayor is at a party, having fun next to a nobleman, who praises the beauty of the woman chosen to accompany him that night. The atmosphere is one of ostentation, and the mayor asks for more drinks to keep being served, all cheerful with the situation. The beast woman takes advantage of a moment of distraction, hits the mayor with a strong blow, and declares that it was for all the beast folk, and also for having soiled Shira's fruits. The atmosphere of the party changes instantly, and everyone is shocked by her reaction. The townspeople unite and start defeating the bandits together. Everyone gets excited, feeling that they can protect the city with their own hands. Their confidence grows, and now everyone believes they can face any challenge together. The princess feels relieved to see that everything is going well, but Kai warns that it is still too early to relax. He notices that the bandits were weaker than he expected, and is surprised at how fast the beast folk's training advanced. Even so, he asks the princess to just observe, making it clear that something could still happen. In the middle of the night, chaos begins in the city. The group led by Cider arrives accusing the beast folk of having allied with the bandits to attack the city. Cider introduces himself, saying that he will bring justice, but Shira realizes that they are being falsely accused and that these new enemies seem stronger than the previous ones. While the confusion continues, the group of bandits, dressed as beast folk, is captured. They end up confessing that they were instructed to make it seem like the attack was the beast folk's fault, but in reality, it was all a plan by the Coin Guild. Everyone realizes that the idea was to put the blame on the beast folk and then eliminate the bandits themselves to take the credit. The leader of the Coin Guild tries to deny everything, but the townspeople start connecting the dots about why the bandits were disguised. Kai explains that everyone already knows about the betrayal and that the beast folk themselves captured the bandits. In the end, it becomes clear to everyone that Coin was behind everything. The leader of the Coin Guild tries to attack Kai using thorn magic and threatens, saying he will use the enemy as a sacrifice for his sword. But Kai, calm, only replies with, "Me." Kai becomes surrounded by the thorns of the spell, but he simply introduces himself, saying, "I'm just Kai Heinemann," showing he is calm even under threat. Kai defeats Cedar and Caleb with a single strike using the thorns. The people are shocked, unable to believe that they fell so easily, and already start wondering what Kai really island. Kai faces the Coin Guild, saying he was only helping those in need. Then, he offers them help, but does so with a scary smile, leaving everyone surprised and even a little intimidated. As he hurries through the city, a man begins to wonder if that guy is really Kai, son of the huntress Maria Heinemann. He remembers that Kai was known as the bearer of the most useless gift in the world. The story already opens the next chapter, suggesting that something big is about to happen. Two characters run through the city, trying to understand what is happening. One of them comments that Kai is now Princess Rosemary's royal guard and is involved in the city's confusion. He recalls having already seen Kai's sword skills since he was once part of Maria's team. Even so, he finds it hard to believe that the timid boy managed to defeat the parasite. The man deduces that if the information came from Princess Rose, Kai must also be in the city. They explain that if an important guild like Coin is involved in this scheme, it is something serious that affects the Hunters Guild's reputation. That is why they were sent to investigate. After receiving a letter from the princess asking for help to stop the conspiracy of Count Getty, the mayor and Coin, who were trying to frame the city's beast folk, the head of the Central Hunters Guild, Johnson, says that the goal now is to capture the real culprits of the case and uncover everything that is happening in the city. At his side is Olga, an A-rank hunter. They begin to split up. Olga is given the mission to capture the Count and the mayor, while Johnson will look for the leaders of the thieves and of Coin. At the same time, they notice henchmen taking a beast woman to the mayor's house and already start moving to resolve the situation. Olga arrives, calling for the mayor, saying she needs to ask some questions. But suddenly, the mayor already lunges at her with an attack. She is surprised and does not understand anything, with no time to react properly. The beast woman finishes dealing with the enemies and lets out a relieved sigh. One of the hunters asks if she is part of the guild called by Princess Rose, and she confirms. After that, she says she will leave the capture of the others to them, thanks them, and leaves to join her companions, while Olga accepts and says she understood. Olga thinks that if the beast woman had not appeared, She would have left the prisoners with one of Kai's subordinates. After that, she becomes thoughtful, wondering who these subordinates of Kai are, and looks a little worried as she stares into the night. Outside the walls of Papla City, a group similar to the Coin Guild appears. One of the members asks what is happening in the city. On top of the walls, someone watches everything, trying to understand the situation. Meanwhile, the Hunter's Chief receives an urgent report. The Hunter's Chief receives confirmation that the thieves really attacked the city, but most of them were defeated and captured by the Beastfolk. He realizes that Princess Rose's report was correct. According to the townspeople, the coin group was surrounded outside by someone who claimed to be Kai Heinemann and ended up admitting the conspiracy. The chief is impressed by the Beastfolk's monstrous strength. The Hunter's Chief is shocked to see a creature appearing and asks fearfully if that is a monster. He cannot understand what is happening in that city, completely lost with the situation. Rose hears a strange noise and starts paying attention. She gets irritated thinking about Kai, saying that he always acts without thinking. Meanwhile, someone approaches quickly, but Kai only says it is fine. Rose complains that he could at least explain better what is going on. The guild leader rushes in, calling for Princess Rose. She and the other girls turn around surprised, not understanding what is happening. He seems to recognize Rose and asks, surprised, if she really is the princess. The guild leader, sweating nervously, apologizes and says that he came from the central guild at their request. He hurries and asks Princess Rose if she already knew something. Rose and the other girl look curious, wanting to understand the reason for his serious expression, while he, still desperate, tells them to forget about him. As Rose and the other girl ask fearfully what is happening, a giant creature appears behind them. The guild leader, nervous, reveals that it is one of the 4 great beasts of the world. Rose and everyone look terrified as the beast Totetsu appears roaring, freed from the seal that imprisoned it. The atmosphere becomes tense, with the threat emerging right in front of them. Shortly before Totetsu's appearance, Kai gathers the coin group outside the city walls. He tells the would-be heroes to protect the city from the horde of monsters that is about to come, surprising everyone with the responsibility he places on them. When the monster Totetsu appears, the coin members panic, saying that that creature would normally only be defeated if heroes, guilds, and even the army united together. Even so, Kai tells them to show courage and says it is their duty as heroes to defeat monsters like that. Meanwhile, the coin people despair, thinking it is impossible to deal with it alone. The coin members try to enter the city but hit an invisible barrier. Kai explains that his subordinates created that barrier to protect the place so the monsters cannot invade. He says that now they can fight at ease without worrying about the city. One of the coin guys starts to panic, trying to justify himself and shifting the blame to the others. One of the coin members falls into despair and starts arguing with the others, putting the blame on Caleb. Suddenly, a giant bat monster appears and attacks, leaving everyone terrified. The atmosphere turns into pure chaos, with screams and nobody knowing what to do. The tension continues, with Kai ordering everyone to give it their all, saying that only 2 options remain: survive and win, or lose and die. Seder decides to muster some courage and advances to fight against the bat monster, even though he is full of fear. People start wondering if it was Kai who broke the seal of the legendary beast, since even the former hero only managed to seal it for a short time. The bells ring, warning that monsters are attacking, telling everyone to stay inside their homes. Meanwhile, they realize that Kai sent the coin group outside the walls to deal with exterminating the monsters. The princess realizes that if that beast really is the true one, maybe not even the hero could stop it. She asks Anna to call for reinforcements from the kingdom's army and to contact Arnold in Balse. She also asks Johnson to help with the evacuation of the residents, and he replies that he will meet with Olga for that. But soon a voice says that will not be necessary. Princess Rose tries to insist on reinforcements and evacuation, but the character with a hat and pointed ears says it is not needed. He asks Rose not to do anything unnecessary and says that even if it is the Tatsutsu, there is no reason to worry. He asks Astaroth to help with the evacuation, but emphasizes that, by the Master's orders, Rose must just stand still and watch. The coin group is fighting desperately against the monsters, but several are dying, and everyone falls into panic. The leader thinks about the past, remembers that they sought recognition from the hero Mashiro, started associating with important nobles, but in the end only chased after money and fame. He keeps wondering where they went wrong. The leader of the coin group becomes thoughtful, remembering the words about true courage. He realizes that heroism is not just bravery, but true courage, the kind that comes from within when someone risks their own life for others. He is surprised to only understand this now. The leader of Coin, even exhausted, shouts for everyone to cheer up, saying that it is not impossible to defeat the monster. They can do it. He calls the group to join together, saying it is their chance to shine and survive. The group responds with an excited shout, everyone standing up to fight. Totetsu finally reveals its true form, frightening everyone who is there. The Coin people are in shock at the size and appearance of the monster, unable to believe what they are seeing. The Coin members, especially the leader, remain paralyzed, staring at the giant monster, feeling the weight of despair. He wonders if that is going to be their end, with Totetsu threatening to swallow everyone. When Coin was almost giving up, the Beastfolk people join the fight with them. One of the Beastfolk says he is not there to save anyone. He only wants to make sure Coin is properly punished for what they did. The atmosphere is still tense, but now everyone is facing the monster together. The giant monster, Totetsu, appears with an even more threatening expression, showing its claws and wings. Kai and the group tense up when the creature attacks directly at them. Kai feels the pressure of the situation, but knows he has no choice but to face this challenge head-on. One of the Beastfolk does not think twice and charges at Totetsu, landing a powerful kick straight on the giant serpent's head. Kai and the rest of the group are shocked, watching the scene in disbelief. Kai reminds the Beastfolk group that those guys there are the same ones who tried to sell them as slaves. One of the Beastfolk says that, to be honest, he hates them, but if they let everyone die, they would be the same as the bad guys. What they want most is to protect their own city. Kai understands and says he will leave the fate of the Coin group to the Hunter Guild people to decide. The leader of the Beastfolk sees their determination and agrees. The Beastfolk boy thanks cheerfully, saying thank you. Kai says he will stay there watching their battle. Down below, he shouts to the people, in the place of the false heroes, protect your city. Everyone charges forward, starting the second round of the fight. The people outside watch the battle happening on the city walls in surprise. The guild members, along with the princess, are shocked watching the scene. She thinks, impressed, that the Beastfolk are managing to face Totetsu and dominating the fight. The Beastfolk leader orders everyone to focus their attack on Totetsu's core, because that way the monsters will stop appearing. They follow the plan and go after the main creature. Meanwhile, Kai notices a strange man spying from afar and keeps his eye on him. Kai becomes suspicious of that new man and wonders if he was the one who revived Totetsu, since he had not noticed him before among the other enemies. Suddenly, Totetsu cries out for help and calls someone named Jiruma. The man in black looks irritated but prepares to act. The man appears on top of Totetsu, all confident, calling the monster pathetic and ordering it to finish off the enemies quickly. He looks annoyed and says he has no choice, then takes out a sphere called Soul Domination Orb, saying that he will use what they found in the ruins. The man jumps onto Totetsu, holding the sphere and smiling in a crazy way. He says that using this item might be a waste, but that it is perfect for an experiment. Totetsu is surprised, not understanding what is happening. Totetsu begins to roar, and everyone notices that something is wrong. The monster regenerates its tail and seems to become even stronger. The man in black, who threw the sphere, says with a smile that this was exactly the kind of power he wanted to test, one of enhancement. The people become alert, already realizing that the situation has worsened. Totetsu uses its newly regenerated tail and hits the group hard, throwing everyone far away. Salyupa and the others fall to the ground, and people scream in fear, worried about whether everyone is okay after the attack. Shira tries to attack the beast, but realizes nothing works against Totetsu. People shout for Shira to run, while the monster charges forward, and Kai notices that everyone there is struggling to fight. Kai appears just in time and saves Shira from the beast's attack, pulling her away. People are relieved to see that she is safe. Kai says that everyone has done their best so far, and asks Namiya to take action. Kai orders everyone to evacuate inside the barrier, showing that now he will take care of the rest alone. The people understand and start moving, trusting him. Kai becomes serious, saying he will resolve everything from here on. The villain orders Totetsu to devour everyone quickly, to serve as an example, saying that outsiders like him and Kai should never have meddled. Meanwhile, Kai grips his sword firmly, ready to face what lies ahead without hesitation. Kai thinks that the story should be about the beastfolk of the city, protecting their home and the people of Papla. The villain notices that someone stayed behind and sees Kai going straight to the confrontation, facing him without fear. While the giant monster is right ahead, ready for the attack, Kai charges forward using the technique True-Style Swordsmanship, second form. His attack is so strong that even the tiger beastfolk, the girl, and the lion are impressed, watching the blow tear through everything in its path. Kai finishes the strike using the lightning flash, cutting the monster with multiple slashes all at once. The people watching are left open-mouthed, shocked by the strength and speed of the attack. Kai finishes the strike and Totetsu falls, already without strength. The villain realizes that the creature is already dead, while Kai himself is surprised, not understanding what is happening, finding the situation strange. The light-haired boy defeats Totetsu with a single strike, making it explode in front of everyone. The other character, surprised and scared, remains on the ground without reacting. The boy warns that he will not show mercy to a fool, and makes it clear that his interference only made him more irritated. The man becomes terrified and surrenders, saying he has no intention of fighting. He tries to negotiate, promising to tell everything the other wants to know. Meanwhile, he thinks of using a hidden trick, believing that with the power of words, he can escape the situation even before someone so dangerous. The light-haired boy realizes that the opponent is hiding a trump card and orders him to use the orb right away, saying that maybe he will grant a quick death if it is worth it. The other, forced, activates the item and gives a command, trying to keep his sanity as he transforms, ready to risk everything on this last chance. The man begins to transform and laughs uncontrollably, feeling the new power taking over his body. Confident, he shouts that now there is no reason to fear the opponent anymore, completely taken over by the sensation of strength. Transformed and out of his mind, the man begins to attack with everything, making his own arm explode in an aggressive charge. The blonde boy, impatient, says he has no time to waste and tells the enemy to attack already. The blonde boy blocks the attack effortlessly and notices that nothing happened to him. The enemy, desperate, tries several times to activate his abilities, but everything fails. He falls into shock, unable to believe that his blows have no effect. The blonde boy explains that the curse of words is nothing more than magic, and if the power is weak, it makes no difference. The enemy is in shock, not understanding why his abilities do not work, thinking they should be absolute. The blonde boy prepares to explain the reason for all this. Without showing effort, the blonde boy says the enemy is weak and lands a devastating blow, throwing the opponent far away and causing destruction in the field. The enemy falls badly injured near the trees, almost at the brink of death. The blonde boy, unfazed, orders Belza to extract any information he can from him and then do whatever he wants, telling him to show the opponent hell for having interfered in the fight. Belza obeys immediately, ready to carry out the order. After the battle, the blonde boy decides to return to the city. His companions and allies celebrate excitedly, and even the children and mascots come to meet him, all welcoming him happily as the sun rises in the background. After everything is resolved, a group thanks the blonde boy, called Kai, for the help. He is invited to return to the city of Papla and receives praise from the Hunters Guild, which promises to take care of the remaining problems. Kai listens and accepts, while another man asks to speak with him in private. A few days after the battle, the city of Papla celebrates victory with a big festival. Everyone gathers, celebrating and toasting together, happy about the end of the threat and the restored peace. During the party, Kai is surrounded by the townspeople, all thanking him and celebrating together with him. As the preparations finish, everyone gets excited to start the celebration. Some people feel sad knowing that Kai will leave the next day, but he assures them that they will meet again and encourages everyone to keep fighting for their own future. Kai receives advice not to worry so much about Maria, while he thinks that he needs to stay firm around her. At the party, everyone praises the new cake made by Rose, and she appears happily, showing other sweets she prepared as well, making the celebration even livelier. During the party, a messenger arrives to give Rose a message, saying that the parasite bandits and Isioni were delivered to the Hunters Guild, and that all of them were very obedient after what they went through. Rose offers more tea to Astaroth, recognizing that he also worked hard, and the atmosphere remains light, with friends asking to cut the cake. As everyone drinks tea, the group comments on Kai's impressive strength. They remember that even a legendary beast which gave trouble to heroes of the past was defeated in an instant by him. The girls are surprised, some joking that they did not even need reinforcements, and conclude that for Kai, all of that was only a small challenge. During the party, Anna delivers a detailed report on the crimes of the mayor and the count, ensuring that they will not escape punishment. Meanwhile, the group comments that Papla will be left without a mayor, but recognize Shulia's leadership during the crisis and start considering her as a possible new mayor, since she is wise and compassionate. As everyone talks about the city's future and wishes that Papla becomes a place of harmony between humans and beast folk, Rose realizes that Kai has disappeared from the party again and laments not having managed to make him try her cake. Kai manages to escape the party and returns to the room, planning to rest. But as soon as he arrives, he is warmly received by the Beastfolk girl and her pet, who celebrate his return. She hugs him and jokingly complains about not receiving attention, while Kai thanks everyone for having done their best until now. Kai lies down on the bed, exhausted after making everyone fall asleep. He is surrounded by the Beastfolk girl, the other girl, and the pet, while he stares at the ceiling thoughtfully, finally getting a moment of rest. As Kai tries to sleep, he remembers old feelings and important people from the past, like Rena and Rose. Even so, he decides that he will live in this new world alongside his companions in whatever way he wants, without being tied down to what has already passed. When Kai returns to the inn after defeating Totetsu, he is welcomed by his companions, who seem to want to talk with him. He asks if they want to praise him for something, and one of them hesitates, saying that there is much to ask and comment, but becomes shy in front of him. Rose looks at Kai with a sincere smile and says that she is happy for him to be her royal guard, showing gratitude and trust in him. Kai is surprised and moved by her words. Kai insists that he is only a temporary royal guard, but Rose says that she believes he will always be by her side as long as he remains himself. Kai laughs at the strange things she says and begins to think about his feelings, whether he is obsessed or only wants to protect his childhood friend. As night falls and everyone sleeps, the girl sleepily asks if Rose's cake was tasty. Kai softly replies that it was delicious, and peace takes over the room as they rest together. The scene shifts to Armgard, the capital of the Kingdom of Amelia. A light-haired character walks through the castle corridors, looking attentive as someone calls him from afar, while the environment shows grand buildings and a busy atmosphere. Rena, Kai's childhood friend and known as the Sword Saint, appears determined to go to the city of Balse to meet Rose and Kai. Keith, another childhood friend and archmage, is surprised by her sudden decision, but Rena shows Rose's letter and says that everything is explained there. Keith confirms that the letter is really from Rose and discovers that Kai is traveling together with her. Rena says that she is worried about both of them and insists that they need to go to Balse as well. Without wasting time, she already wants to look for a carriage, while Keith despairs, trying to remind Rena of their position and the consequences of leaving so quickly. Rena decides to disguise herself for the trip and orders Keith to prepare as well, ignoring his concerns. She leaves excitedly, confident that no one will recognize her, while Keith already foresees that they will get scolded by the master because of this adventure. Meanwhile, in the Lord's mansion of a ghost town, a mysterious man, wearing a hat and stylish clothes, calmly reads a book amidst a grim setting, with lightning and broken windows around, suggesting that something dangerous is about to happen. The man in the hat coldly announces that Julian is dead, saying that his presence has completely disappeared from the world. Another man, surprised, confirms the gravity of it and understands that someone strong enough to defeat Julian is now in the surroundings of Papla, making it clear that the situation has become much more dangerous. The man in the hat decides that they already have a new target, ignoring the previous job. A female figure asks if he is sure, since they have not even finished the current job, but he says they can eliminate the client later. It makes no difference. Another member of the group becomes excited upon hearing that it will be a total massacre, showing that they are ready to cause even more chaos. The man in the hat, who seems to be the leader, gives orders to his group. He orders Vinegar to investigate who defeated Julian and Salt to activate the ruins immediately. He warns that the Calamity Group does not accept failures and orders Sugar and Pepper to completely destroy the city of Papla, showing that they are ruthless and will not spare anyone who gets in the way of their plans. In a mansion hidden inside a cave, a mysterious woman receives news from hooded underlings. She realizes that even with Totetsu, they could not defeat the hero, showing concern about the opponent's strength. One of the underlings informs her that number 33 did not return and is probably already dead. The woman called Lord Nail laments another sacrifice, but listens carefully to the report, since they believe this information can be useful to her, even though they had been forbidden to continue monitoring the situation. Sitting on the throne, Nail introduces herself as an assistant of the Demon King Ashmedia. She promises to remain strong until she fulfills her mission, but at the same time asks for forgiveness, feeling the weight of the sacrifices made so far. Nail orders the hooded underlings to continue seeking humans to serve as sacrifices and to activate the ruins' magic. She asks the dead to protect her from the underworld and promises to follow them once she finishes her mission, showing that she is willing to go to the end, even under the weight of guilt, in the palace of the demon army. A subordinate informs that the analysis of the ruins is complete and confirms that they can serve as a portal for the demon army to invade the human world. The demon leader reacts excitedly to the news, showing that the threat is only beginning. In the demon army, Tiamat is excited and eager, asking them to hurry everything, since she cannot wait anymore. Pazuzu, the lion wearing sunglasses, says that he will soon manifest in the human world and open the portal for Tiamat, showing that the invasion plan is about to begin. The group of villains known as Calamity declares that they will hunt Kai and Rose, saying that anyone who opposes them will meet a tragic end. Meanwhile, Rena, excited, says that their goal is to find Kai and Rose. While Tiamat watches excitedly, saying that now the fun is really about to begin, Nail makes a determined promise that she will save Ashmedia. Kai is standing, staring ahead with a serious expression, while Rose watches through the carriage window. In the background, a character with animal ears follows the vehicle as it goes away. After leaving Papla, the group reunites with Arnold. He warns that the permit to return will take about 2 weeks, so they need to stay in Balse until then. Arnold quickly departs, saying that he still has matters to resolve in the city. Kai, hearing this, thinks it is perfect, since he also has things to do in Balse. Kai arrives in Balse, where the Hunters Guild is located. The city is bustling, because it is close to the capital, and serves as a strategic point for those hunting high-level monsters. Hunters from all over the world gather there, and the guild always has many jobs available, connecting those looking for service with those wanting to hunt. Kai thinks that he needs to get his hunter's license to earn money quickly and travel the world without problems. He also wonders if Rose and the rest of the group have already found lodging. Meanwhile, a man watches the commotion through the window, noticing Kai. Kai enters the Hunters Guild, takes a look at the mission board, and thinks that after registering, he can take on jobs of his level. He explains that hunters are divided into 6 ranks, from novice to superhuman, and that the rank rises as missions are completed. Determined, Kai goes to the counter and asks to register as a hunter, pressing the bell to be attended. Kai reaches the counter, and the receptionist smiles, saying that registrations are done there. She informs him that the registration fee costs 10,000 ores. Kai confirms that he understood and begins looking for the money in his item box, while the receptionist is surprised by something she sees. The receptionist is surprised when she notices that Kai has an item box, since that is a rare ability. Kai covers it up, saying that he does not have that skill, trying not to attract attention. He pays the 10,000 ores, and the receptionist confirms the amount, already calling the next in line. Kai thinks that he needs to be more careful not to get into trouble by showing rare abilities. Kai reaches the evaluation table, where the receptionist asks him to touch the orbs, since they will display his status. Kai begins to suppress his own status, so as not to draw attention, thinking about how he does not know exactly what the level of a beginner hunter should be. So he decides to set his level around 12, and even puts on a ring without any ability just to disguise it. The receptionist, excited, prepares the process to see the results. At the moment the receptionist sees the result, she is startled and announces loudly that Kai's gift is the most incompetent in the world. That draws everyone's attention in the guild, and a guy already points at Kai, laughing about his gift. The receptionist becomes very embarrassed and apologizes, but Kai takes it lightly, saying that it is normal for people to be surprised. While the guild members keep mocking Kai for having the most incompetent gift in the world, the employee apologizes for having revealed it without permission. Kai does not mind. He even prefers that they think he is weak, since that way he avoids trouble. The employee is surprised, asking if he enjoys being ridiculed, but he only asks them to continue with the registration, acting casually. The employee is about to analyze Kai's status and ability, but is surprised when she sees that his strength value is at 12. Everyone starts to find it strange, but Kai quickly covers it up by saying that he forgot to remove a ring that boosts status. He asks to be analyzed again without the ring, and the employee understands, saying she will redo the evaluation. The employee warns Kai that they will need a few more tests to finish his registration, and asks him to be discreet with items that increase status in public. Kai thinks that it is really better to avoid drawing attention. On the way he encounters some guards, understands that this is the detour the receptionist mentioned, and follows the new path, already with little choice. In the upstairs office of the guild, Ilsa, a rank B hunter, complains that it makes no sense to send her to watch a boy. Johnson, who is a famous hunter for having refused promotion to rank S, tells her to see Kai with her own eyes at the registration counter. She leaves still thinking it's all exaggerated and wondering if it isn't just overprotection because he is Maria Heinemann's son. Ilsa goes down the stairs, looking at Kai at the counter, and already thinking that, at the very least, she should be paid well for this job. She hears some adventurers commenting that Kai has the most incompetent gift in the world and became famous as the weakest. But she quickly realizes that the reason for his strength is a razan, rare status-boosting ring, and even hears people saying it would be good to steal that item for their boss. She immediately understands that this ring must be far too valuable, almost like a national treasure. Ilsa observes from above and realizes that Johnson didn't just want to watch Kai but to protect him. She sees a group of adventurers approaching Kai and demanding the status-boosting ring, already treating him as the most incompetent in the world. She thinks that those people there are basically thieves and notices that the Balse Guild is in decline. When she sees the danger, she already prepares to act, and someone shouts her name. Mia asks Ilsa to keep an eye on Kai after he leaves the guild, because she is worried about him. Ilsa even tries to refuse, but ends up accepting to take care of the boy. As soon as she sees the problem happening, she draws her sword and charges forward, ready to protect Kai. Those who were threatening Kai are surprised by her arrival. Kai is grabbed and thrown hard to the ground by one of the big guys. Ilsa sees the scene, shocked, thinking, "What the hell?" Meanwhile, the noise of the brawl draws even more attention, and the atmosphere gets heavy with everyone watching what's happening. Kai begins defeating several hunters alone, with no difficulty at all. People are shocked watching the scene. Even Ilsa widens her eyes in surprise. Kai stops and stares at her, with that tension between the two. Ilsa hides behind the wall, surprised that Kai noticed her even while she was using her concealment ability. Johnson watches everything from afar, already realizing that Kai is not someone ordinary and wondering how someone like him can be considered useless. He even says that the boy is a monster and that what they saw wasn't even Kai's full strength, realizing that his power doesn't come just from equipment. A few days pass. Ilsa says that she doesn't want to make Kai an enemy, and Johnson replies that this is exactly why the mission exists. Ilsa asks if Johnson intends to use Kai to clean up the mess in Balse, and he comments that Kai and those guys already have a history. In the end, Johnson says that this confrontation between them is only a matter of time. In a room of a luxurious area of Balse, a huge man asks the others if they are still getting beaten by Kai. The two men, all bruised, explain that they have been gathering people and attacking Kai every day, but his ring is so strong that they cannot even scratch him. The big man loses his patience and tells them to stop making excuses. The group's leader, Ma Higu, complains, saying that the weak men there are useless. He asks if they managed to gather any information about Kai. A refined man replies that yes, Kai's gift is the most incompetent in the world, and reveals his name. He also comments that there are rumors about Kai being involved in some trouble, and Ma Higu remembers a fiasco with someone named Ikoni. The subordinate explains that everyone thinks the legendary beast Totosu was defeated by a local beast folk, but in reality, it was Kai who defeated it. The leader asks if Kai's ring has enough power to defeat one of the 4 great beasts of the world. The man confirms, saying there is no other explanation, making it clear it would be impossible for them to win against someone like that. The leader becomes angry, crushes the glass in his hand, and shouts for everyone to shut up. He says that if he could obtain that ring, not even arrogant heroes would stand a chance against him. The subordinate comments that Kai has been getting very close to the guild's receptionist. The leader smiles and says that if brute force doesn't work, they will exploit Kai's weak point, already showing that he is thinking of a plan to trick him. The huge leader says that he doesn't care what needs to be done. He wants to steal everything from Kai and make their guild's name famous. The other man realizes that this is Kai's weak spot. Soon after, a few days pass and the city's mask festival begins. Mia appears very excited, calling Kai and the receptionist to quickly go enjoy the festival, with fireworks in the background. Mia is super excited at the festival, wanting to stop at every food stall. Kai and the receptionist find her cute and keep an eye on her. He remembers that her outfit was made by Anna and asks her not to get it dirty. Mia starts eating several skewers at the same time, overjoyed. Then she offers food to the receptionist, who happily accepts, and the receptionist wipes Mia's mouth, taking care of her. The atmosphere is light and fun. Mia comments that she only came to look for bargains, while Kai notices that Faf is sharing food and getting more and more attached to the group. They realize that some people have been watching the master for a few days. Then, Kai asks Shirayuki to investigate who those watchers are, and what their objective is, while she accepts the mission and discreetly infiltrates the crowd. Kai, Mia, and the children are enjoying the festival together, each one enjoying the event in their own way. Kai and Mia exchange quick glances and feel a little embarrassed, but continue accompanying the children as night falls and the full moon appears in the sky. Kai feels as if he has a younger sister, while Rose hugs him happily after the festival. Mia thanks him for his company, and Kai wonders if she would like to go out with them again. He remembers when Mia offered to guide them at the festival, which was a big help since the event is huge and easy to get lost in. Faf is excited to go to every stall, and already wants to choose the next outing. Mia gets excited and says she would love to go out with Kai again, but becomes very embarrassed when she realizes she said it out loud. They say goodbye near her house. Meanwhile, the woman in the hat comments that talking with Kai doesn't feel like talking to someone younger, since despite appearances, she herself is over 1,000 years old. Mia says goodbye, smiling and waving. Fi receives a pat on the head and wishes good night. Before leaving, Mia tells Kai that she will see him the next day. Kai keeps watching as she walks away, with Fi hugging him and the woman in the hat by his side. Mia leaves alone at dusk, looking happy but also thoughtful. Kai sits next to the woman in the hat, unaware of what is going on. Meanwhile, Asta comments that Mia is a pitiful girl, leaving Fi confused with that remark. Kai discovers that the group called Card is using a hostage to try to blackmail him. While he talks about it, the girls around him are surprised by the situation, and the confirmation is that yes, their plan really is to use a kidnapping to force Kai to do something. Kai becomes serious and alarmed as he realizes what is happening. The two girls tense up, and one of them asks if they are talking about the hunters who have been attacking Kai in recent days. Kai comments that he always deals with the attacks, but the enemies never give up. They discover that Mia was kidnapped shortly after separating from the group at the festival. Shirayuki appears, bringing news, while Kai thinks that maybe he should have eliminated the enemies earlier to avoid problems. Kai says that Shirayuki is not the type who would stand still just watching, and asks what she was doing. She replies that in fact she did not just watch, implying that she acted on her own during the confusion. Nemesis appears and asks to leave everything to her, saying that she has already sent her subordinates to watch both the enemy group and the hostage. She assures Kai that the hostage is already practically safe. Shirayuki offers to go rescue the girl right away, but Nemesis says it will not be necessary. Kai thanks her for the work and says that he himself will handle the rest. Kai says that he is going out, while one of the girls tries to talk to him. She says that the kingdom could send troops to deal with the culprits, since the 4 sacred guilds, who should be protecting the people, have only been committing crimes. Kai refuses the help, saying that all of this is his fault, so he will resolve it alone. Nemesis praises his attitude, as if she already expected it. Nemesis says that Card is an enemy of women and that they cannot go unpunished. She asks for permission to prepare a devastating scenario for them, making it clear that she is plotting something. Kai thinks that he doesn't fully understand what she wants, but agrees, since this will ruin Card. Soon after, a maid appears delivering a letter to Kai, while Nemesis already says that the scenario is about to begin. It shows a flashback of Mia walking alone on the street, very cheerful, humming, and thinking that she spent the whole day thinking about Kai. Suddenly she realizes and blushes, thinking how strange it is to have feelings for someone younger than her. Mia starts thinking that she got too involved with Kai. She remembers that at first, she only wanted to help because she had caused him problems, but she ended up creating the expectation of seeing him every day. She becomes embarrassed, calls herself shameless for using her position in the guild for that, and decides that she needs to stop meeting him personally. Even so, she hesitates and thinks about leaving the watch in Ilsa's hands. Mia sits alone, looking at the sky full of doubts. She wonders if it is really okay to never see Kai again, showing that deep down she still wanted to stay close to him, even while trying to convince herself otherwise. Suddenly, 2 men appear and grab Mia, taking her by surprise. She doesn't even have time to react, and is already taken away by the kidnappers. Meanwhile, from afar, Nemesis and Shirayuki watch everything happening, already aware of the situation. Her bow falls to the ground, marking that something went wrong. Mia is thrown to the ground by the kidnappers and screams, terrified. She realizes she cannot move and soon notices that she is inside a church far from the city. A mysterious man appears in front of her and greets her in a sinister way, making the situation even more tense. Mia notices she is surrounded by several men and recognizes Ma-san, their leader. She understands she has been kidnapped by the people of Card. Mia tries to remain calm and questions what they intend, reminding them that attacking a guild employee is a serious crime. But Ma-san mentions Kai, saying that he should not have such powerful items for someone of his level. The enemy group tells Mia that she will serve as bait to lure Kai and punish him. She tries to deny it, saying that the two barely know each other and that Kai would not come just because of her, but then begins to think that, since he is kind, maybe Kai really would come. One of the men interrupts, saying that they have already investigated everything and claims that Mia and Kai are in a relationship and will soon be engaged, leaving Mia surprised. Mia is shocked to hear that she and Kai are engaged, thinking that it makes no sense. The man in the group begins to provoke her, saying that from her reaction, the engagement must be real. Mia tries to deny it, but remembers an old conversation about the status-boosting ring, suspecting that it might all be related to that. The man then says that because of this, she will be a fun victim to break psychologically. Mia is surrounded and terrified of what may happen. One of the men approaches with a wicked expression, saying they will have fun with her since this would be her end there. Mia screams for him to stay away, but the man insists with disgusting comments, making her even more desperate. The leader starts laughing loudly and orders everyone to begin the show. Mia is frightened, with her clothes torn and crying. The man says he can't wait to see Kai's face when he finds out what they did to her. Meanwhile, Mia thinks that all of this is happening only because they were after her due to Kai, feeling guilty, while the men keep laughing at her. Mia is lying on the ground, crying and mentally apologizing to Kai, thinking it was all her fault. One of the men approaches with a terrifying smile, saying it would not be fun if he killed her right away. Mia only thinks that she doesn't want Kai to come here and puts herself down even more, feeling that she brought all of this upon herself. Kai suddenly appears, leaving everyone surprised. Mia thinks this is the worst place for Kai to be right now, but at the same time realizes that she wanted to see him. The thug is shocked, not understanding how Kai got there so quickly. Kai appears serious, raises his hand, and simply destroys the church tower with a single strike, saying, "Die." The men are shocked to see Kai suddenly appear there, and the leader orders everyone to surround him. Kai walks over to Mia, who is tied up, kneels beside her and says, "Sorry I'm late." Kai covers Mia with a magical cloak that protects against any attack and tells her to rest because now everything is fine. He looks at her, somewhat regretful, thinking that he ended up involving her in all this mess, while the enemy group watches from afar. The enemies notice an opening and try to attack Kai all at once, but he is not intimidated. When they charge forward, Kai retaliates with ease, knocking down several of them at the same time, without showing any sign of concern. As Kai defeats multiple enemies without even using weapons, Ma-Higu watches impressed, thinking that the boy can only be this strong because of the magic ring. Even finding it strange for an incompetent to have so much strength, Ma-Higu becomes increasingly obsessed with obtaining that ring for himself. Ma-Higu considers retreating after seeing how complicated the situation is, but Kai suddenly appears behind him and doesn't let him escape, saying that he should not leave like that after having invited him to the fight. Ma-Higu is surprised and shocked by the boy's speed. Kai receives a letter delivered by a staff member. In the letter, the kidnappers state that they have captured Mia Campanella and order Kai to go immediately to the church ruins southeast of Balse. They say they will exchange the hostage for the status-boosting ring and warn him not to resist, otherwise they cannot guarantee Mia's life. One of the girls becomes worried when she sees the contents of the letter. After reading the letter, one of the girls becomes outraged at the kidnapper's threat. Another comments that at least they are quick. Nemesis says that everything is going according to her plan. Kai says he doesn't know what Nemesis is scheming, but decides to go to the indicated location alone. He asks the others not to get involved, and says he will resolve everything on his own. Kai appears behind the enemy leader, Ma-Higu, already with his sword in hand. He speaks directly to Ma-Higu, saying that he is angry, and asking if he really thinks he will manage to escape unharmed. Ma-Higu feels the danger, and is shocked by the threat. Kai stares Ma-Higu down and repeats the threat, making it clear that he will not leave there intact. Ma-Higu begins to sweat and panic, but tries to react and charges at Kai. Some thugs watch the fight from afar, and Ma-Higu thinks the situation has become complicated, letting out a scared "damn it." Kai observes from afar, and Ma-Higu appears holding the unconscious hostage, laughing loudly and saying that now the situation has turned around. He shows confidence and says that soon Kai's ring will also be his, revealing that he used the power of a teleportation ring to turn the tables. Kai realizes that Ma-Higu is only relying on the power of the ring, without thinking clearly, Ma Higu, desperate, holds the unconscious hostage with a knife and yells at Kai to take off the glove and hand over the ring, threatening that if he doesn't obey, the girl will die. Kai removes the glove, saying he will do as asked, but warns that they will all regret it. Meanwhile, the others realize that he is removing the gloves that seal his power, becoming surprised at what might happen next. As Kai prepares to act without restrictions, Nemesis says she will leave, and he authorizes it. The enemy begins to realize that the situation is out of control. The mage comments that humans are fools, showing that now he will fight seriously. Kai orders Nemesis to act. She appears and saves the girl from the kidnapping, leaving the enemy leader surprised. Kai mocks the villain for calling reinforcements cowardly when he himself had taken a hostage. Then Kai hands over the ring as promised. The leader grabs the ring, becomes excited, and boasts that now he will be the strongest in the kingdom, perhaps even in the world. He believes that it was the ring that made Kai so powerful, and thinks he will finally get what he always wanted. Kai says that this guy is no different from those who only depend on their own powers, and that even Cider was better. At least he had a warrior's spirit. The leader becomes irritated, orders Kai to shut up, says that now he fears nothing and that Kai is useless to him. The leader starts shouting for the group to attack Kai, ordering them to kill him and tear him apart. Everyone charges while the man laughs loudly, very confident with his axe raised. Kai draws his sword and prepares to fight. He activates the first form of his secret technique, Brink of Death. The enemies and the leader charge together, all attacking at the same time, but Kai is calm, facing them head-on and ready to act. Kai's attack is so fast that no one can even see the strike of his sword. The enemies only realize it when they are already falling, with a slash circling the entire group. The leader and the others are shocked, and people begin to scream in fear and despair, while Kai just stands there, calm, with the sword in his hand. The big boss panics, screaming in pain because he lost his fingers and arm from Kai's strike. He accuses Kai of having handed over a fake ring, but Kai simply says that he never used any equipment that boosted ability. The ring was the same one the man wanted so badly, but it never made any difference. The others' expressions are of total shock, unable to believe what just happened. Kai looks serious and says that with or without that ring, he is not weak enough to lose to that guy. The boss can only beg for help, completely defeated and terrified. The church is destroyed with a gigantic explosion of energy. Afterwards, several defeated enemies appear on the ground, some only groaning, while Kai walks alone, leaving everything behind, with the scene still full of smoke. Kai summons the monstrous guards, called Belze, to deal with the enemies. He orders them to make the men suffer a lot, but without killing them. The enemies are dragged away, while one of them asks in fear where they are being taken. Kai comments that these guards were very interested in this case, so he brought them along to help. Out of nowhere, two new characters appear, arriving confidently. They say they saw everything that happened, and declare that the Akardi group was basically destroyed. They tell Kai not to worry, that they will deliver everyone to the Hunters Guild. Kai recognizes the two and says it is fine to leave it to them. Nemesis explains that the villain's leader will probably be hanged because of the crimes he had already committed. Kai presses her to explain this scenario of letting Mia be kidnapped on purpose. She says it was important for Kai himself to rescue Mia. Deep down, the others only comment that there is no point in explaining to Kai because he doesn't understand their intentions, since it was all just to give him a stage to act. The guild members ask Kai to take Mia back to her dormitory. He even suggests that it would be better for someone from the guild to do it. But the women insist that he has to take on this responsibility and care for her personally, since the rest of the group will be busy investigating the crime scene. In the end, he accepts and understands that it makes sense. Kai carries Mia in his arms and says he will leave the rest of the cleanup of the place to the guild group. As they leave, the woman in the hat comments in surprise about Kai's true power, saying that he didn't even use 0.01% of his strength. Meanwhile, the other only looks at the horizon, somewhat impressed by what she just saw. The two begin talking while watching Kai walk away carrying Mia. One of them says that Kai reminds her of her former lord, and the other laughs, saying that there is no one else in this world who can challenge Kai now. Then she adds that, in any case, they need to give him a reason to stay in that world beyond just fighting, a reason for him to truly want to remain there. Mia wakes up in Kai's arms, still a little drowsy, and calls for him. Kai notices that she is woken and tells her that he is taking her back home now. He continues carrying her in his arms along the street, under the light posts. Mia becomes flustered and thanks him, saying that she is fine, even as Kai asks if she was hurt. Kai apologizes for having put her in such a dangerous situation, but Mia says that she should be the one thanking him, since he was the one who saved her. They keep walking together until Mia, slightly embarrassed, thinks to herself that despite everything, she was happy. When they get close to the dormitory, Mia hurriedly says that she can go on alone from there, trying to hide how happy she felt in that moment. Mia stops, looks at Kai, and thanks him sincerely, saying, "Kai-kun, you said I didn't need to thank you, but thank you for coming to save me." She hugs him tightly and repeats thank you once again. Kai is surprised, but answers that he only did what was right, not really knowing how to react. The scene closes with the two of them walking under the lights together, with a calm and beautiful atmosphere. Kai and Mia say goodbye, each with a faint smile. She waves and says, "See you soon, Kai-kun," while he replies back, "See you soon." The two go their separate ways, with the sun setting in the background, leaving a peaceful mood of an arc coming to an end, as if one stage had been concluded. Nemesis complains in a love-struck way, saying that the master should have at least accompanied Mia to the entrance. She gets all dramatic and melted, while another just observes, a little impatient. One of the girls agrees, and even thinks that Kai could have taken Mia all the way to her room. In the end, everyone gathers, and one of them says that she wants to hear what everyone else has to say too, as if it were a small meeting to discuss everything that happened. Nemesis speaks confidently, saying that they would never harm anything that Kai wants to protect, because they share his destiny. The other just watches from the side. On the other hand, the people from the guild realize that the group disappeared before they could thank them. The guild leader thinks that, despite trusting Kai to clean up the corruption in the guild, they ended up messing with something much bigger than they imagined. The woman says that Kai's group's strength is absurd, that they notice surveillance easily, which scares her. Even so, they saved Mia. The guild leader comments that he has known Kai since he was a child, that he is the son of an old friend, and although he does not know what changed in the boy, he believes that Kai still has the same heart as before. He cannot believe that Kai or his companions could be bad people. One of the girls spots Kai returning and tells Rose that he has arrived. Rose feels relieved, thanking him for being safe. She observes that from the way he looks, everything ended safely and went well. Anna complains that, even if it was to save a civilian, Kai caused a lot of trouble and seems unaware of his role as royal guard. But Rose interrupts her, calling her attention, saying that Kai is only acting as a royal guard because she herself asked him to. Another girl jokes, saying that Anna stayed up all night waiting for Kai to return, but Anna says she only stayed up because Rose did not want to rest. Rose notices that Anna is exhausted and suggests that they rest. Anna complains, saying that Kai always does things his own way and ends up leaving Rose worried. In the end, the two go to bed, and Rose says that since it is already morning, they should sleep a little. Anna just quietly agrees and soon falls asleep. Anna remains thoughtful while watching Rose sleep. She remembers that Rose trusts Kai completely, but stays silent, showing that she herself still has doubts or insecurities about this. She ends standing in the corridor thinking, "But I